Certainly is, Tom. Thank you so much. We'll cross back to you again this afternoon. But for now, to start your Sunday live football in the VFL, it's off to Box Hill as the Hawks take on the Kangaroos. And for the call, here's Jason Bennett.
Thanks, Abby. Welcome to part one of our Sunday Footy Fest doubleheader. It's Box Hill and North Melbourne from Box Hill City Oval. Jason Bennett alongside Nigel Carmody and Campbell Brown for Seven's VFL match of the day. The Hawks are 2-2. The Roos yet to salute in 2021. They've been decimated by injury. 21 AFL and VFL players on the sidelines right now. There's all the AFL players. You can throw another half a dozen VFL players in there as well. Campbell Brown, the great coach Alan Jeans used to say, crisis creates opportunity. And Kangaroo coach Lee Adams sends him out there today with an attitude of, look, nothing to lose, let's just get into it.
It certainly does. It creates opportunity for nurses and doctors and radiologists and the whole medical industry. Nice team here for Box Hill, who are looking to rebound after a disappointing loss last week. And they've got a very experienced side.
12 AFL listed players for them, 5 AFL listed players for North Melbourne Nudge, and a bunch of new faces. So they'll get some energy and enthusiasm from some debutants this afternoon. They've got 7.
Good afternoon, Jace. Yes, 7 debutants. 4 of them are NAB League players, and that's probably the thing we've got to provide some context to for our viewers. In concert with North Melbourne's injuries, they have 52 games of AFL experience in the lineup. That includes 13 from VFL listed Jacob Heron, and just 260 VFL games of experience, 180 of that out of Kate Hansworth, Tristan Sherry, Louis Cunningham and Harry Jones.
Emerson Jekka there, coming off a couple of weeks up at AFL level. Now back to the VFL to keep honing his craft.
He'd been dominating, hadn't he, early in the VFL season. Got his opportunity, didn't probably perform the way he would have liked, so back here to get some confidence.
Tom Donnelly, the Tasmanian, into him before the opening bounce.
Hawks going with, they've got the 3 ruckmen there today. Jonathan Segler is starting ruckman. Keegan Brooksby is on the bench, and young Ned Reeves playing out of the forward line. So they've gone nice and tall.
Round 5 VFL action, part 1 of our Sunday Footy Fest, our 7 VFL match of the day. It's Box Hill and North at City Oval, and here's Nudge.
And if you're a North Melbourne supporter, you're enjoying flicking the TV on after a win. As a Hawks supporter, to bounce back after a disappointing afternoon yesterday, there's opportunity aplenty. Tristan Sherry's fist got it forward early for North. Off the ground goes Mercedes. Hit out of the air, almost got to Morris. Trickles its way to centre-half forward here. Boston and Valagi on hands and knees against Pepper. Hotly contested footy early. Did R2 take it in? The umpire lingers, hovers, gone.
Harrison Pepper starting forward this afternoon. Spent some time on the half-back flank the last few.
Straight off to Howe, who taps it short for the hustling Jekka, who I reckon would have wandered down to the forward line, coming off 8 VFL goals in the first 2 rounds. A look at AFL in the last couple of weeks. Seen Tom Donnelly and gone, righto. Hitch the caravan, let's go. He had a superb game in round 1 here against Casey, and then backed it up with 5, of course, the following week against the Northern Bull Ants here. To get his AFL opportunity, back to the VFL to regain some touch and confidence this afternoon. And touch and confidence is what he shows us inside the first minute.
If he's come back down to Box Hill to find some confidence, that is the perfect start for Emerson Jekka. He moves so well. He's a beautiful strike of the football. Yet to register a goal in his 2 AFL games, but he's just prolific at VFL level.
Recall bounce in the middle of the ground. Some interesting results so far across round 5. Winners Brisbane, Southport, Casey by a point over Geelong yesterday. Coburg big winners over Port by 36 points. Sandy over Williamstown. Richmond by 97 over GWS, and Sydney last night by 33 over Collingwood. Round 5 of VFL action as Sherry dishes it off to Jack Watkins. Bounces it towards half forward. Good strong tackle pressure there from Kate Hansworth.
Do you want to give some context to the pronunciation of the ruckman for North we received this morning?
Yes, so Tristan Sherry's mum came across and just let us know that it's actually Sherry, not Cherry. Everyone in the industry's called him Cherry for the last 4 or 5 years. It's actually Sherry. So here's Boston of Valagi. I believe that's how you pronounce that name. Inside 50 through hands. It's going to be a free kick.
That's a very patient family to have waited 4 or 5 years to let us know.
Very politely came across.
50 games in and then feel like you can say something.
Like the Pitternet situation we had for many years. Mark Pitternet was happy to have it as Pitternet and then came out and said it's actually Pitternet. But anyway, the ball's with Eddie Ford and an early opportunity here for North Melbourne, playing his 4th VFL game, his first year on their list. From Yarraville Seddon and the Western Jets. Really exciting, dynamic, X-factor type player. Just working on his consistency and the technical side of his game, Brownie, the lead patterns, the positioning, to make sure that he puts in a good, consistent four-quarter effort. But a chance to respond early here for North. He's pushed it right. Just
hit it skinny. Finn McGuinness looks like he's running with Will Phillips here, and the Hawthorn... Well, the Hawthorn selectors, they like...
I got out of that well.
Well, no, because he didn't let me finish. They like Finn playing these run-with roles, so it's a big job for him this afternoon.
Mason DeWitt cascades out of the goal square, gets it all the way to the wing. A high fly and the mark to Reeves. This is certainly an aspect of his game developing, as is that touch to find Kilpatrick, who was fanning for a runner. They fly at 45-degree angles off him. It flicks through a couple of sets of hands, cleaning up his Harry Jones, of course, former Hawk. Now a chance for North Melbourne to try and muster something through that outer side. Bailey Scott, one of 5 AFL roos in the lineup, wearing the contact and doing it well. To take that free kick was Harry Jones, who of course played 1 AFL game, went on the Hawks rookie list. That came last season.
37 disposals last week. Nudge was
been huge in midfield for them, Brownie.
Clearly their best.
High fly, Mark not completed in the end there from Mark Baker, former Coburg player, and the ball finds its way out over the line. So Emerson Jecker with our sole goal of the Sunday VFL action. Of course, the D's and the Blues in the AFL to follow this one this afternoon.
So last week versus Southport, how many did they get down to with their injuries? I heard 16. We were told maybe 14 on the field.
This is the Kangaroos.
Is it hard for them to be competitive?
Sherry got it to Connor Byrne, ex-Coburg and Box Hill. Off hands and out in front of Mason DeWitt.
Can't remember a game ever that there's been so many injuries that you can't field, you know, at least 17 on the field.
Well, the 14 came from, I think there was a player for a blood rule. Someone else was getting checked out for something, which meant one of the players who had a cork got sent to just sit in the goal square and give us a number.
Yeah, Appleby had concussion, Matty Walker had ribs, and Spade had done a hammy, and I think Will Walker had hurt his thumb.
Yeah, you're right. Masidi up towards the wing. Good contest. Howe tries to go back and find it for the Hawks. That is a tackle. Jai Newcomb, who's just been a dynamic inside bull for them this season. Umpire lets it go. What a great start to his career, the 20-year-old from Warragul. 23 possessions, 5 clearances, 8 tackles a game he's averaging. Sam Mitchell loves him, and rightly so.
AFL clubs who are here today with the deck chairs out, watching him closely ahead of the mid-season draft in a couple of weeks. Flying ball high from Jones, goes wide, and DeWitt's trying to appeal for it.
Oh yeah, Aaron Sanderlands might be back in the mix.
Well, there was talk that a club had inquired about his availability.
Right. It'd be one out of left field, but there's certainly plenty of talent on display here today.
I think he's shut that down, hasn't he? Aaron Sanderlands said no, not happening.
Someone can inquire about Campbell Brown's availability. Doesn't mean he's going to be nominating. Mind you, based on what I've seen at Kilcunderbass the last few weeks, anything's possible.
Not
as how.
Not after that hamstring went
Frees up to McGuinness, back to Pepper. He slices a kick to half forward. Whistle for a hold. Advantage will be paid the way of Morris, who punts it deep. We've got a vacant goal square. How will it bounce? It sits. Chance now to get back for Cunningham. That stylish left boot of his spaced it well, but that was a good fist from Greaves, but he was given the opportunity because Polidorus, in just his second VFL game, wasn't prepared to put the hands out and meet it there on full stretch, Brownie.
Yeah, you've got to do it this level. Try and give yourself the best advantage by taking it in front, but nice closing down of the exit kick there from Greaves, who continues to work on his defensive side of his game.
Sherry at the front, Reeves at the back. Kilpatrick, little give. Kick inside 50 from Ed Phillips. Tracking it down is Harry Pepper, as Brownie mentioned, gone from half back to half forward today. Keeps it alive. Flips it over the top to Stuart Horner. Can have a look inside 50, go for a target. It's a 2-on-1 in the air. Staying down was Newcomb. Donnelly in there working. And taken over the line by Logan Young. Originally from Claremont, come across to Melbourne this year to chase his AFL dream. The son of Colin Young, the Western Australian player agent. Had a great Colt season last year. He won the best and fairest at Claremont, averaging 23 touches, 6 clearances and 8 tackles a game. Come to Melbourne, give himself a better opportunity to get a look at it.
Going okay at the Dragons as well so far through the first couple of NAB League games. number of NAB League prospects on show this afternoon. Here's Aaron showing a clean pair of wheels. Didn't really kick the ball though to the advantage of his intended target there in Baker and Hugh Beasley. The Richmond VFL Premiership player takes advantage. The switch for DeWitt, who's had plenty of the ball early on, flies. Courage required and shown in flight there from Minot, who had Sherry bearing down on him. Mark found it half-back. This is Miller Hodge, one of North's 7 debutants and one of several Tasmanians in their lineup who played in a premiership under Mitch Thorpe, your ex-teammate Brownie at Launceston in the TSL last year. Elliot LeGrice chops off for the Hawks.
Looking for an option at centre-half forward. Will go long. Up in front, the only man to really own that football was Keegan Brooksby.
He just judged it better in flight, didn't he? It dropped short in the wind, and you've already seen a couple of intercept marks from the key defenders for Box Hill. That's going to be an area that they should dominate. North Melbourne really struggled in the first 4 games of this VFL season to hit the scoreboard. 21 goals in 4 weeks. It's an average of 5.25, so it's going to be even more difficult today.
Always worries me when you get into the mathematical sphere. Here's Brooksby from 55 out, tugs it towards the left behind post. The mark is taken down there by Sherry. Goes short to Heron. It's been a tidy start so far from North Melbourne.
They'd be happy.
Tyrese Liu against Masidi. Masidi went to ground. Opens the door for the Kangas. Watkins links up with Conway. A couple of youngsters. Ford to Boston-Avalagi. This is the important kick inside 50. Just over the head of Mazzarotti. He flips it out, keeps it moving. Connor Byrne gets around Newcomb. Wants an option. Can he find someone inside 50? Just pops it up to the advantage of Greaves. He went with a fist and gets it to the line.
They've been really competitive, the Kangaroos. I really like the way that Liam Conway got the ball, just lowered his eyes and hit up a target. The easy option under a bit of pressure in your first game is just to blaze away and go for territory, but they're thinking their way through their forward 50 entries at the moment.
Good chance to muster a forward structure here as it's palmed by Reeves to Masidi. Coming to meet it, Nash, who's bundled across the line by Bailey Scott. Wind, if you're just joining us as well, you probably can tell from the trees on the outer side, on the Middleborough Road side of the ground, is blowing pretty much across the ground, so no advantage left or right of screen, but something that players are going to need to take advantage of. Certainly that camera shot doesn't do anything to reinforce it, but probably not in the right direction. The ball comes out of the contest from Hodge. Snap around the body from Scott on the left. Trap behind was Ford. A boot flicked at it. Hawks, a bit of work to do here. Beasley to Greaves. Tricky bouncing ball to try and glove on hands and knees. Mazzarotti. LeGrice didn't get a fist on that. Howe did. Safe hands and even safer foot of Masidi. Too much on that for Newcomb. Can North lock it in their forward half? Boston-Avalagi head first into Kilpatrick, but at least North get another forward half stoppage.
There's good forward pressure here. And was this a throw? Beasley, absolutely it was. So the umpire missed that. Would have put them right at the top of the goal square, having a shot on goal.
Howe feeds it back to Kilpatrick. Touched off his boot. Taken by Morris to Downey. A touch kick down the line towards Jecker. Couldn't quite complete the mark. Up I said chop. Advantage will be paid. Newcomb. Howe. Runner to the outside with some speed is Minot. He attacks the goal face. Brooksby at the back. Well played at the front.
That was really good defence there from Gunter. And running back with the flight. Always difficult to read it in the air, not infringe and kill the ball towards the goal line.
He's got a weapon of a right boot. On that occasion, it's going to be cut off. Harrison Gunter. Mark taken by Masidi, who also was a thumping kick. So Gunter, another who's on AFL radar, as Masidi delivers inside 50, and that is silver service for Jecker. Damien Masidi's made a career of it.
One of the best kicks in the past decade through the VFL. He spent some time up forward this year. Just great success. He's hit the scoreboard. I think his best position is across the half-back line or on the wing. He lowers his eyes and delivers like that. And Emerson Jecker lining up for goal number 2, licking his lips.
So 40 metres out, pretty much directly in front. You could tell from his body language immediately he didn't like it.
9-4 from Emerson Jecker's 8 quarters and 13 minutes in the VFL this season. Gunter brings it in. They flirt with the line, but Hamish Murphy playing his 5th game this afternoon. Spent some time on Werribee list. Plays his local footy at Avondale Heights. Able to fan that kick for Heron. Heron inboard. So North with some control here, but the Hawks will keep pressing up.
I don't mind this. They've got to continue to look to switch and change angles. If they go long down the line, LaGrice and Beasley will just have a field day picking off those high balls. So a bit of composure.
What a kick from Reardon.
Jones to Reardon, and now Watkins, another of the Werribee Avondale Heights crew. Reardon's got work to do, and he'll complete the mark. Certainly not as spectacular as the one he plucked in Tassie last year for Kingborough. That is a photo to go and, or some footage to go and have a look at. The kick's not great, and Box Hill at the moment, Brownie, are getting at least 1, if not 2, behind this slow ball movement of the Roos.
Yeah, they set up well defensively, but that kick into the corridor, just, it opens them right up.
Kilpatrick to DeWitt. Coming out to meet it was Gunther. Flips a little handball. Forward's bumped off it. Goes back to try and win it. I think he's hurt from that first bump. The umpire says, my ball.
You're better off if you're not too sure where to go. Long down the line, create a contest rather than turning it over in the middle of the ground there. Howe gets it, turns, and there's no way.
Brooksby, what a beautiful tap taken by Kilpatrick. And a hold. Quick ball movement, does it again.
It could be in for a big day, Checker. On that occasion, just one out in the goal square. They win the clearance, get it in, and young defender just latches onto the arm. Free kicks there all day long.
Gee, it was a lovely tap from Brooksby. Down to Kilpatrick. Beautifully worked. And just that quick release from the stoppage had Donnelly on the back foot. As you mentioned, Brownie, a little bit of panic. And Jecker can go back and kick his second.
Oh
boy.
Just took it a little bit too easy then. Leant back on the approach and pushed that one right. So after a beautiful first set shot at goal, Emerson Jecker's missed 2 that he would have loved to have finished.
Heron's had plenty of it early on for North. Decides to go to the outer side of the ground. Got off the fist of Segler and over the line and out. Johnny Segler getting over a bit of an ankle issue to return. Second VFL game of the season. We saw him play in the round 1 game here against Casey. Of course, 4 AFL games. The opening 4 of the season for the Hawks to take his career tally to 93 at the highest level. Here he's against Sherry and pointed him on that occasion. North get it free. Scott, can he get around DeWitt? No, he was stripped in the process. Underground goes Phillips. Horner, who was the laid in. Howe around the body, and Answorth, who's skipper this afternoon for the Kangaroos. Former Sandringham best and fairest winner takes the mark. He's again lacking some options. Scott just the 15.
I like this approach though, just lowering their eyes, hitting up those free targets. A lot of the Box Hill Hawthorn way is to just fold back defensively. If they can keeping them accountable, it's going to make them work offensively.
So they're pressed back, and Brooksby knows it as well. He got a hand in on it, in the end made Harrison Gunther work for it. Takes the mark at halfback. Will he go corridor? Prepared to risk here. Got a couple of options. One of them's Lou.
Lee Adams will be absolutely wrapped. 16 minutes into the first quarter, only down 8 points, and they've shown some really good signs.
Lou goes long to the wing. Punched away from Sherry.
When you're coming off 207-point drubbings and you lose the quality of player out of the side from last week, you'd be going in today, first quarter, a little bit unknown, but as happy as Lee Adams is, I don't think Sammy Mitchell will be overly wrapped.
Lee Adams, before the game, saying he's just really had to simplify the game plan, of course, today. 7 debutants who haven't been with the group either. It's not like they're guys that are around your group. They're literally coming from Tasmania, from the NAB League, so you just got to keep it really simple.
Spent more time on the phones this week than forward planning for Box Hill. Lee Adams, and told us, Jace, that he had players based in Hobart, Launceston last week, I think, who had to get on a flight to Hobart to try and get to Queensland to play in the match against Southport. It's been a roller coaster few weeks for them.
That was almost Point Jelly Brown-esque.
It's just a slip out of the hand there. We just reassess. Spent a bit of time on the phone too. Just Dan Richardson, just having a chat about some umpiring from last Sunday. It was good. Good chat.
Segler got the tap. Cherry at ground level.
Always striving to be better, Nudge.
Umpire calls for it. Spoke with Lee Adams, Kangaroos coach, Friday to get some info on the team lists and he still had half a dozen players he was ringing around. He said, look, I reckon I've got a kid coming from Sandy Dragons. I'm not sure of his name yet, but they tell me he's a defender. That's what they're working with this week, the Kangas. So far, their first 18 minutes has been outstanding.
It's been a really good, and like you said, nice and simple. Just hit those targets when they're there and just try and create a contest around these stoppages.
Throw in on the Middleborough Road side. Sherry versus Segler. Slapped out in the Phillips direction, but handball intercepted. Scott couldn't control it. McGuinness, little flip out. Howe tracks the football. Gathers, tumbles it down the line. Takes some territory. Brooksby versus Gunther has already been an engaging contest. 0-0 draw on this occasion.
He's holding up well, Gunther. Taking the kick-ins, he's taken a few intercept marks. He just needs to halve as many contests as he possibly can down there this afternoon.
Come over from Glenorchy in Tasmania for his third VFL game. Again, it was Kilpatrick on the move at the stoppage. But yeah, Harrison Gunther, as we mentioned, on AFL radars, 2 times in the Tasmanian Team of the Year, 18 and 19, second in their best and fairest in 2018. Then did the ACL in July of 19, so missed basically a year and a half of footy. Came back this year playing really good football. Now gets his chance at VFL level.
Yeah, 22 last Thursday, so certainly a lot of time on his clock to try and make it to the highest level, and that's been the chance here for the North VFL program in partnership with some of the clubs in Tasmania to give some of those Tasmanian players an opportunity to continue to further their claims for AFL football alongside still being able to play in the TSL.
I know that this is probably boring football at the moment, but it's exactly what North Melbourne need to do. Just get the ball, get territory, create a contest forward of centre.
It was Danhouse's 10th possession there as Mazzarotti goes looking for it. DeWitt's right over the top of him. You can see both the left arm over the left shoulder and then pretty much rode in the back, but no free kick for Mazzarotti. Oh, sorry, in fact, that's Tyrese Liu emerging from the contest. Yes, Jace, product of the
Roeville Knights.
Contractually obliged.
Then went to Lichterfield.
Now playing his footy with South Belgrave when not in the Eastern Rangers lineup. So free kick North. Can they find a way as we tick into time on? Answorth. Wide for Hodge.
Yeah, should just wheel and go here before Box Hill get a chance to drop their numbers back. There is some one-on-ones in the goal square.
Hodge gets moving. Needed that sort of lead into the vacuum of space created. Horner spun out of the trouble. Mercedes with a deft left boot finds Howe, who's had a mountain of it.
11th touch coming up for Dan Howe. Run from behind comes from McGuinness. Launches towards Segler, the target. Tries to work Gunther underneath it. At the back trying to tidy up is Will Phillips. The medical sub yesterday didn't get a run. Off to Harry Jones. Now to Reardon. Another of the exciting young Tasmanians. Run down from behind is Cunningham. Quick release. Jones, he's under pressure. Steps through a tackle. Good pressure this from the Hawks, and it eventually forces the turnover. DeWitt gets on the end of it. Goes inside 50, and that's a good, strong, tall mark. Taken by Reeves, who pops it over the top to Morris.
Morris just comes straight off the bench. Ran into the space there, and good kick by Reeves. Played on really quickly, which allowed the kick into the goal square, and Josh Morris now should go back and kick Box Hill's second of the term.
One look at AFL level this year, albeit as the medical sub in round 8. Didn't get a chance to get on the ground. This is 4th VFL game of the season. Josh Morris bends it through for Box Hill's second goal.
Box Hill do have a distinct height advantage in their forward half, playing with the resting ruckman, and Ned Reeves took a nice strong grab, got back off the mark, found that spare player in the goal square to make an absolute certainty of it. And Box Hill haven't been dominant.
Well, possession's equal. Scoreboard aside, the two things where there is a bit of a gulf. Inside 50s 8-4 to the Hawks, and tackles 15-8 as well. Sherry's tap sharked by Howe. Off to Mercedes, who's moved himself into the midfield here. The recent goal kicker, Morris. We're looking for Phillips. Off the ground goes Burning. Gets a good piece of it as well. Bit of turf comes up as Polidorus when looking for Ford. Hawks turn it over. LeGrice, DeWitt, Mercedes. Sounds more like European soccer tournament when those three players are linking up. Mercedes off his line. Where are the leaders? High fly, inserting himself. Brooksby. Free kick. Go the way of the Kangaroos. Reardon will take it.
Good strong commitment to the cause there by 4 players, 3 Kangaroos, and Brooksby in the middle.
3 Roos have probably worn the jumper a collective 10 times. So good signs from the endeavour of North Melbourne so far. Lee Adams can certainly take that into the quarter-time huddle. Burn will get it as far as the wing. Sherry needs to make a contest. Newcomb stood under it. It's at the feet of Phillips. Reeves went back to him. LeGrice held his space and can push the kick wide. Murphy's in the right spot. That's a sensational mark.
20-year-old from Werribee Districts. These days playing his local footy at Avondale Heights. Had some big jobs this year, Hamish Murphy. Really thrown in the deep end in his first year of VFL football. That one slapped away by DeWitt and Liam Conway. There's Liam Conway, number 72, 19-year-old from Williamstown CYS, and the Western Jets still playing NAB League this season. Pre-season at Willie, top ager at the NAB. Big-bodied midfielder at that level.
Going well in the NAB League.
Yeah.
24 touches a game.
Here's Josh Morris. Reeves, run down by Sherry and rewarded. Reardon quick. Here's some quick ball movement. And Byrne decides to go himself. It was a good option. Took the bounce, took a little bit of extra territory and finds Eddie Ford.
Let's get it in. Long one-on-one. It's taken too long here.
Runs around the man on the mark.
Yeah.
Porter goes long, and that's a good.
It's a good grab, but he allowed Mercedes the extra 2 or 3, 4 seconds to be able to slide and get across to take that mark.
And Box Hill counterpunch here through Beasley. Goes long towards the wing. That's a nice one-handed grab. Beautifully taken there on the wing by Murphy once again.
So the kick went to where it should have, but it was just a few seconds too late.
Answorth chips it wide and finds Lewis Cunningham. He'll wheel and go. Long ball inside 50. Reeves will come over the top with the fist. Front and centre was Maserotti, taken down by Newcomb, the willing tackler. Ball spills out. Watkins, he's wrapped up in a tackle. How did the umpire see that? Holding the ball. Box Hill football.
Brownie, the speed of ball movement for North being that slow allows not just Reeves and Segler, but those intercept defenders like Beasley and DeWitt to get at least in the air and get a fist on it, if not mark it.
Especially if you've got that quick ball movement coming from a stoppage like they had. I'd just wheel and go, even if you're kicking it to grass.
Guinness's half-volley pickup was neat. Porter gets it to half-forward. Hawks are out again. Morris lurking is Saunders, waits for it on the bounce, steps around his opponent and snaps Box Hill's third.
That was quick ball movement from Box Hill, and Saunders identified pretty early that they were going to win the contest at centre half forward, so he just spat out the back. And when the ball got out there, it was the easiest of snaps for Jack to kick his second Box Hill career goal and extend the lead to 20 points for Box Hill. Uninspiring first quarter, but starting to run away with it a little bit now. The endeavour from North Melbourne has been absolutely fantastic.
Just need to connect forward to centre.
Yep. And all their leading goal kickers aren't playing today. Taylor Garner's been terrific down there.
Socket out of mid-air by Watkins. Coming out to meet it is Lou.
Here we go now. Wheel and go. Get to your feet and just pump it in. You've got a 3-on-3. Good, strong lead.
That's a beautiful kick too, but what a contest from Minor to come across the front of that lead. That was brave. Good run down from behind on Beasley. Umpire said play on. Cunningham wins it. Gives it off to Lou. Smothered off his boot. Ricochets in the McGuinness direction. Picked up by Newcomb. Newcomb now to Greaves. And Box Hill can set up from the back. Porter. Kicks towards half forward. Bosnavalagi comes back, but Brooksby's going to take it out in front of his face. He's 60 from goal. Delivers low inside 50 in the Jekka direction. Got Bosnavalagi for company. Feeds it back to Minot. Some fancy footwork. Gets it to Jekka. Tight from the pocket. He's getting plenty of looks in the opening term. Emerson Jekka, he's kicked 1 goal 3.
The quick ball movement from Box Hill, just a real standout. They can move it quickly straight through the corridor and give their forwards one-on-one opportunities.
Yeah, turnover from halfbacks proving to be the launch pad at the moment. Baker flew high. And that's Lou goes the body on DeWitt and knocks him out of commission.
That's the thing with that sort of 30-metre kick right into the corridor at the 40-metre mark. It was great, but if you don't take the mark, Box Hill goes straight up the other end, and it's very hard to defend.
He's a big unit, Tyrese Lou, isn't he? Knows how to throw his weight around a little bit. Comes from a Samoan background, a rugby league and rugby union family.
194 and 91. You're going to know he's out there, which is one of the things North could hang their hat on with so many NAB League players coming in to top up their team today. They are of good size and shape as Phillips to Byrne. Back into traffic goes Jones and wide for Watkins. So time ticking down towards quarter time. Can North find one? They certainly deserve it. But again, it's slow in their central part of the ground. Jones. Back to Byrne. Well-travelled Connor Byrne. Originally from Wagga, spent time at St Pat's Ballarat with the GWV Rebels in his under-18 time. His kicks down the line for Bailey Scott for his return to the AFL lineup. North, an inside 50 entry, a shallow one, but a hustling mark from Polidorus.
Just go back, take your time here. Late in the first quarter, had plenty of opportunities forward of centre. That's a nice mark, good kick as well from Bailey Scott.
His only VFL goal, which came in the debut match against Casey at Marvel a couple of weeks ago, was from a similar distance. 7 goals in 4 games this year for Old Trinity and top grade of the amateur competition here in Melbourne. He's had an excellent time as a forward for them. 127 goals from 89 matches over his last 5 or so seasons. This will take his best. You can hear the thump on the footy. Just misses to the right-hand side. So North with their second score of the afternoon so far. Margin at 20 as we tick past 30 and a half minutes.
Ball in the hands of Damien Mercedes.
Nearly every player in the Kangaroos forward half here. Turnover kick.
Newcomb over the top came Sherry rather. Almost brought it down. Has got it to Bailey Scott. Chance here for the Kangaroos. They can get their hands on the football. They can't. Newcomb did well. Fed it out to Beasley.
Look at that! That moment has been commemorated, and Adam Wojcik joins a select few of umpires to get their own footy card.
Oh, right, that's amazing.
The space for an autograph down the bottom, which to me seems a bit optimistic.
Obviously, Nick took a bit of a wind-up, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Do you bring it up in conversation with him at all?
With Nick?
Yeah.
I don't ring him every day.
Front bar next week, don't miss it. Barry Round and Ryan Fitzgerald.
Quarter time, 7's VFL match of the day coming to you from City Oval in Box Hill. And it was the Hawks in control for much of that opening term. It's pretty tight around the contest, a lot tighter than the scoreboard would suggest. Pre-game, Lee Adams, Kangaroos coach, saying contest is going to be their major focus. They need to be competitive in close, Nigel Carmody, and they were. You look at the clearances, 11-10, contested possessions, 34-33. It was actually more the method once they got it forward to centre that was the difference between the two teams.
Yeah, we referenced it in the call, Jace, that the score chain and the origin of where Box Hill's scores were coming from was that ability to turn the ball over around half back and then just simply work their way free of North Melbourne's press of any sort.
Which has been Box Hill football for the last 15 years. That's exactly the way they play all the time, particularly here at Box Hill City Oval. As we take a look at the numbers, and look, the inside 50 is pretty level in the end, at 11-9 in favour of the Hawks, but as we said, they're just looking a lot more dangerous forward of centre. Emerson Jecker with 1 goal, 3 in the opening term, plenty of good looks.
Absolutely, and again, he is a player who loves to just lead hard at the footy. Box Hill being a wider ground really suits him, but also North Melbourne will harp on it plenty of times today. 5 AFL listed players, 7 debutants, 4 of them out of the NAB League. He should get some matchups today and some boys inside forward 50 that'll give him some looks. Incidentally, Jace, 2-2 from turnovers. That's the difference in the game.
Let's take you inside the Box Hill camp now. Their coach Sam Mitchell joins us. Sammy, thanks for your time. What were your key messages at quarter time?
I just shut down a bit of their uncontested marks. They had 30 for the quarter and were able to move the ball pretty well. So we'd like to get rid of that out of their game if that's okay.
Hey, Sam, you grabbed Stuart Horner, I think, because he was the closest man to you in the huddle. Looked like you were talking about some body positioning. Can you explain what that was about?
Yeah, just take out the uncontested mark, so they're able to chip it around a little bit too easily, and we just would like them to get a bit more physical. So hopefully the boys this quarter will be able to shut that down and get the game played on our terms.
Sammy, you come against an opponent and have 7 debutants today, 6 of whom you've probably never seen before. What does that do for your planning and just your general preparation?
Yeah, it was difficult. We know they've put on a lot of pressure on us, and their contested brand is really strong, and we just hope that we can sustain ours for a little bit longer this quarter and break them down as the game goes.
We appreciate your time. Best of luck for the rest of the afternoon.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Sam Mitchell joining us at quarter time. Campbell Brown was in the North Melbourne huddle listening to Lee Adams address his troops. Brownie, what were the key messages from Lee?
He obviously was really happy with the endeavour and the way they structured up. Just probably spoke about that connection forward of centre. They didn't get the reward that they probably should have and deserved, but continue to give themselves good looks. And he did mention move the ball a little bit faster when you do look up and you see one-on-ones.
So just be a little bolder?
A little bolder with your ball movement. But the composure side of things backward of centre when they're chipping it around and forcing the Box Hill defence and midfielders to move their shape and their defensive structure is really good. He said you'll continue to find those 50-50 contests and those free players.
Second term, Sevens VFL match of the day. Great to have you with us on 7 and 7 plus. As we start the second quarter, it's Box Hill by 20 points. Segler in the ruck against Sherry. Here's Newcomb. First effective disposal of the term is a kick towards half forward. It's punched away from Kilpatrick, tidied up by Reardon to Donnelly, who loses his feet, but he's got support. Scott, Reardon, nice step, gets himself out of trouble. Doesn't hit the kick sweetly, but great attack on the ball from Answorth. Coming through there was Kilpatrick. Logan Young puts his body on the line. Scott finds Reardon, and they work it out through Answorth. A fumble from Hodge. He now gets it back. Chance for the Kangaroos to go forward to centre for the first time of the term. Beasley leads his man out to the football in Baker. Wins it, then turns it over. This is Lou. Can chip it over the top. Opportunity, well played. DeWitt got back. Fisted it clear. Horner can tidy it up. Maybe now a chance for Downey to clear. Lou, again, great body work. Gets rid of Porter. Goes back, wins the football himself. Greaves comes in over the top. And he loves to have a crack, Tyrese Lou.
It's got to be high, Brownie.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely started high and slipped down, but the endeavour, Miller, Hodge and a few of those players just to find the body and put some defensive pressure on was terrific.
Phillips stepped through a couple. His handball was chopped down. He's driven into the turf.
They've been a bit unlucky. They missed the throw at the top of the goal square of Beasley, and then if they get paid that free kick for high, all of a sudden they're getting another couple of looks at goal.
Segler, but all the roos were on the defensive side. Scott down the body. Goes Conway, but DeWitt was the man to intercept for Box Hill. So margin at 20. DeWitt short for Porter, the former Bulldog. Mercedes, the designated kicker back there, and he'll drive this one forward, playing in front, but not getting a hand to it was Gunther. So it's all Brooksby. Lost his footing there on the cricket wicket area that's getting progressively muddier as this rain comes. Jecker forces the contest. Donnelly has to just balance the handball for his fellow Tasmanian in Hodge, who lost the footing, as did Nash. Sold into trouble. Bosena Valagi with an NBA-style dish. Down the line, Segler, though. And again, Box Hill get it back.
Segler will go short. Connor Nash. He's got Kilpatrick down the line. Now wants an option to come towards him. It's Brooksby. It's all North. Good numbers at the fall of the contest. Jones scrubs a kick back towards the wing. Speaking of scrubs, effort from Kilpatrick barely hit his foot. Ford the beneficiary. Nice kick. Needed to be low and flat to get to Conway quickly. He's got a man over the top, Answorth. Heads there now, but shanks the kick.
There was a lot of space there to be used if they needed to. Conway just should have got up, swung onto his left foot even, punched it out into some space and allowed some of the North Melbourne forwards to work back into that.
Can't deny the composure, ball in hand, some of these younger North VFL listed types are showing, but Brady, you'd love them just to show, righto, foot on the accelerator, let's go, kick to a contest if that's the case, but at least we'll have even numbers ahead of the footy and try our luck. Jecker chops it off. We'll get the kick before Murphy's on the scene. Finds Pepper, who's right on the arc of 50. He'll wedge one. Sherry's in the right spot. Minot wants a hold. It won't be forthcoming.
Perfect spot for the ruckman, if you're going to work down into the defensive 50, that's where you need to be, and took an uncontested mark in the end.
Burn v Downey. Burns got the legs to get there and gather. Flicks the handball forward for Baker, and they can link up with the 1-2 perhaps. No, the man in board's Reardon, who barely got a hand before he got a fist on it. Answorth, dangerous. Didn't see what was coming. Basenavalagi just casually grabs and spins. Scott's kick finds Young. They're on the move here. Young will continue to run. It's an inside-out ball, which allows Mercedes to get a fist on it. Greaves has got a couple to beat. DeWitt on clean-up duty. Segler.
And what you won't see on TV then is every time they looked up, Jonathan Segler was working back as the ruckman, doing exactly what Sherry did down the other end, just putting himself in that dangerous space. That's why they were a bit reluctant to kick it in.
Burn, low ball in the Sherry direction, and he's got enough of it. Perfect chance to go back and kick North's first.
What a great way to make the ruckman accountable. Quite often they just go back thinking they need to defend the last line for the long kick in, but if you can move around and find some space, you're just as dangerous as a forward. And Tristan Sherry took a great mark down back to start this chain, and he can go back and kick there first.
His second goal of the season. They need this one, and he delivers.
He's been having a nice time of it, Tristan Sherry, of late. Last week was a real standout, 26 touches, 17 of those contested possessions, 7 clearances, and now he's gone forward this afternoon and taken a nice mark and kicked there first, so good reward for effort.
Watkins' kick, end over end. Coming to meet it at speed was Phillips. It was wide, and now it's tricky for Newcomb to gather, but he's good in the contest. He gets the kick free of Polydorus, but it's chopped off, and Burns having an influence in the second term against his former side. Ford's got to stay under it. Gets a knee into the lungs. Gets back up. DeWitt will receive from Morris and sail away onto the left. Can he complete the dose with the kick? He can. Saunders in the fingertips.
This game is so close to coming off one way. That kick just set up a little bit too high. They had some overlap, the Kangaroos, and the spoil gets made. DeWitt hits it at pace, kicks it to a dangerous spot, and the terrific hand there from Jack Saunders. He can go back and kick his second.
Good for nearly a goal a game in the Sandford under-18 competition last year for Norwood. 8 from his 9 starts there. Goal in the opening quarter here. One a couple of weeks back here against the Northern Bull Ants. Quick answer to the Sherry Major. Saunders with a pair.
Run and carry and dash from DeWitt, and a nice kick to the favoured side of Saunders as well. So that's a third goal from a turnover for Box Hill. They make you pay.
Margin back out to 20 points. Sherry against Reeves. Sherry flips it out to Phillips. Quick hands to Ford, who feeds it back. Ball inside 50 from Watkins. Defensive spoil comes from behind, and plenty of numbers around this one as LeGrice and DeWitt to shut it down. Nowhere at all for Alex Polydorus to go there. Reeves in the ruck again. Ball in disputed ground level. Ford, Downey with the intercept. Reeves is going to be run down.
Great tackle.
Now Horner as well.
Every time Box Hill player got it, they looked up. He was just hit with a wall of Kangaroos mids pushing in, which allowed the forwards to come up behind and lay the tackle. And all they get is a stoppage inside their forward 50.
Baker versus Reeves. Howe. Phillips with the bouncing ball towards Sherry. Reardon with speed. Tried to flip it to advantage, but once again, the Hawks lock it up.
That's how you build pressure, just locking the ball inside your forward half. Stoppage after stoppage, trying to create. Stopping a man back from this stoppage. They've got a spare here.
Every player on the ground within a kick of this contest. Here's Basenavalagi.
And that's the spare for Box Hill. It's just DeWitt that freed himself up. So, smart footballer, put himself right in the leading lane.
Will attack through the corridor and find Phillips.
The former Saints quick to go. Run away from Conway. push the kick inside 50, looking for Brooksby. Northfold back in number. Gunther, Watkins, Murphy leaves it. Cunningham flies it off to Rosena Valagi. Good contest in flight there from Howe and Jones, the former teammates. Howe was instinctive to go to Kilpatrick. Stepping in board is Minot with the snap and the crispest of finishes.
The important win was this one. Howe, the second effort, on his knees, wins a critical 50-50 ball, handballs it back into some space. Kilpatrick to the pocket, and that is a lovely finish from Minot. Hit it perfectly. Box Hill's fifth, and they extend the margin.
It's a clever kick, wasn't it? He took his last step inboard.
Yep.
To just turn his body to be able to get the angle and bend it around.
Didn't try and kick it too hard, just put it out there and allowed the wind, the shape of the ball to do the rest. Really, fabulous finish.
Really smart technical finish, that one from Trent Minot.
Howe with 14 disposals. He's having a nice afternoon.
Watkins and Sherry combining in the middle of the ground. Phillips looking to control it under some pressure. Play on the call as Howe was confronted by Phillips coming the other way. Answorth in there as well.
The way he went down, it appeared like front on contact, but the umpire
may have been his own man.
Yeah, could possibly be a bit of friendly fire.
McGuinness in there scrapping. Kilpatrick. DeWitt getting lots of the football and being really creative across half-back at the moment for Box Hill. Here's the goal kicker, Minot. Turns inboard. Mercedes thought about the give back to him. Being rounded up by the Kangaroos, so he just retreats to Phillips. He's got DeWitt in the corridor. Just turns on the jets, a little burst of speed to get clear, and then chips it down the line to find Minot. Minot spears it low to half forward. Nice delivery to Saunders.
Checker long working back into the square. Segler's tried to put a block on for him.
Heads in the Segler direction. It's going to drop short, and Bosnavalagi cuts it off.
They're showing a bit this small defender role that North are clearly working on with him. Drafted more so as a small forward.
Great kick.
Young can open things up here for Will Phillips. It's pretty much 1-on-1 inside North's forward half, and this is the man with taking the mark. Lou came off his line, brings an inboard for Ford. Now there's numbers in front of Ford. Careful look on the 45. He's got a short option in Heron if he wants to go there, who's then got a line to goal. He's continuing to look further afield. The fly and the mark from Baker.
Oh, nice. It was a good build-up. It was the kick right into the middle of the corridor that really opened the ground up. It gave the Kangaroos options up forward.
And that's the kick they haven't been making so far.
Yep, and you can play on quickly. You had all the fat side space to work with. They came back around the arc, and even though it was slow, it was considered ball movement there. It wasn't kicked too high. It was punched to a dangerous spot, and Mark Baker took a beautiful, strong mark.
Played 9 games for Coburg in 2019, kicked a goal with his first kick in the VFL against Richmond. For his first goal as a North Melbourne VFL player, the Roos have got 2 in the second. Brownie North beating Box Hill at their own game here. Turn it over in the back half, score in the forward half.
Yeah, that's a bit of vision that they'd be absolutely wrapped with. The intercept mark from Bosnavalagi. That's the kick right there that opens the game up. All of a sudden, Phillips has options. They made the right decision. They slowed the ball up, put it to a dangerous spot, and fantastic finish, though. 2 goals this quarter, and very much deserving.
Logan Young with the creative kick from half-back to set it up. Segler slaps it towards Phillips. Socket forward. Off the deck goes Miller-Hodge. Box Hill have the football through Masiti.
He's creating some headaches off half-back.
Off to Morris, who did well. Worked Gunther off the football and then gets it and goes. Has a couple of bounces. What's he got in front of him? He's had 3, he's had 4. He runs to 50. Will chip towards the top of the square. They've got some targets. Juggling effort and a lovely mark taken by Pepper. Nice play by Josh Morris. Saw the space in front of him. Took full toll.
Yep, take ground. If no one's going to come at you, then continue to take ground, which is exactly what he did. The kick probably was a fraction higher than he would have liked, but they got that space out the back, and Harry Pepper on the left boot just hits it skinny.
His opportunity for a first VFL goal goes begging. A 19-year-old from Morwell Youth Club and Loanna College down in Gippsland. Short kick in finds Donnelly.
So Donnelly short. Gunther trying to improve after being outpointed by Morris in that contest before that led to the pepper shot on goal. Bailey Scott, this will be a game-high 16th possession for him, and it's an effective one for Watkins, who's also been busy. This will be his 11th. Connor Byrne, the other North player in double figures with 12. Howe 14, DeWitt 11 for Box Hill. Baker, Sherry, Segler staying down, Horner. Comes inside. Reardon missed the fist and the player, then tackles alongside Polidorus to keep Cal Porter at bay. So North advance it again into their forward half. Box Hill led by 20 at quarter time. 2 goals apiece so far in the quarter. Segler could grab it, get a boot on it, and Howe just sneaks in off the bench. A couple of Box Hill players have done that today. Reardon missed the body there on Downey. Saunders, who's kicked a couple, finds Downey hemmed on the line. 2-on-1 back here for the Roos. Gunther with a half volley to Scott. And the Roos can set up from the back once again.
Donnelly, trouble. Turns it over and Morris can get it and go. Has another bounce. Runs to 20 and punishes them.
Box Hill, one of the best in the comp, but just punishing you from turnovers. And on that occasion, Morris intercept mark. Another run and bounce with him, but more importantly, the terrific finish. So what looked like a nice switch of play and an attacking move for the Kangaroos gets cut short, and another goal to Box Hill.
2 to Morris, 2 to Saunders. Margin at 27 points once again. Ainsworth off the back foot, pokes a little kick only as far as Downey. DeWitt's got to be quick. He's run down by Byrne from behind. Sherry tries to flip it out. He's got some support. This is Cunningham. Can turn and go. Scrubs a kick towards the forward pocket. Not a bad result. It bounces out in front of Mark Baker.
Bit of push and shove.
LaGrice.
Like that. And terrific tackle from Byrne as well. As DeWitt was looking to kick the footy, just laid the tackle, kept the ball locked in their forward half. That's just what it's going to have to be, how they live.
And they're hanging in the contest. Clearance is 17-15. That was the big concern. Were they going to get beaten up by the more mature bodies of Box Hill around the stoppages? Hasn't been the case so far. Baker and Segler. Segler at the front is having his way in the ruck battle at the moment in terms of tap-outs, and Logan Young immediately taken down. Not translating to clearances, though.
Reeves 11 hit-outs, 5 to advantage. Segler 10 and 2. Sherry 10 and 2 for North so far, who throw at it in their forward half, but that'll only be a fleeting moment. Nash picks it up on the edge of the cricket wicket. Good tackle from Hodge. Senevalagi goes looking for Lou. The diving hand pass found Hodge, who extricated himself, got a toe on it. Polidorus and Beasley. Free kick for a high one will go the way of the Hawk.
Bit of a locking of the arm for both players there, but certainly dragged down by the Kangaroos forward. And this is the kick they need to stop, slow them down.
LaGrice hit the fat side of the footy. Downey got a hand on it and then tried to basketball it up to himself. It's a 2-on-2 as Ed Phillips arrives, gets it away from Bailey Scott to Howe, who slides the left foot ball. He was dealt with as he kicked. So Reeves, Phillips continues to Byrne. He's corralled by Ainsworth, goes back to Reeves, who elects to dish inboard for Newcomb, who slides the kick wide. Pepper will try and gather on the half volley. Basena Valagi couldn't remove himself with the ball. Support now in the form of Harry Jones. Murphy, dangerous ball inboard. Newcomb, who loves the contest, rides the bump from Ainsworth and then provides the tackling pressure. Jai Newcomb's latest AFL audition, his 5th VFL game this afternoon. 5 touches so far to go with 4 tackles.
In a time on second term, margin of 27 points. Important minutes here, particularly for the Kangaroos. Ainsworth in the back. A little clumsy there from Dan Howe. Okay, Ainsworth will have it. His 5th touch coming up. Just need to be tidy here, North. Senevalagi gives it off. Run from behind. Came from Jones. Lou involved, forward as well. Watkins on down the line. Didn't go there. Decides to take territory in the end. Thumps it inside 50. Sherry rather was his target. Mark cut off by Porter. Dangerous switch. Almost hauled in. Here's Heron attacking the football. Greaves comes with a fist. Gets it to Brooksby. Brooksby to Pepper. And once again, Box Hill looked to clear from the back half. Morris goes to ground. A one-on-one with Gunther. Morris versus Gunther. Ball underneath. Gunther takes his man, rolls him in the tackle. Bosnivalagi in there lurking, but it doesn't come out.
He's been really impressive today, Gunther. Just defensively, very astute. Knows when to leave his man come off, but when he needs to halve or win those 50-50 battles, he's good enough and capable enough to do it.
Ainsworth and Scott both with quick kicks to half forward. Ford waiting to apply the tackle, now can do so. Concert with some support there provided by Mark Mazzarotti. He's got some family ties to the Roos, dating the daughter of Gavin Brown-Tarney, who of course had a great season with Collingwood in the AFLW this year. So North looking for a third. There's a whistle.
Out of bounds, I think.
It's going to be thrown in where the 50 and the boundary intersect. So margin at 27 points. 22 and a half minutes, of course. A look back at some of the results so far in this round, and the one that grabs the eye there is Coburg's trip to Northport Oval yesterday. 36-point win, a mountain of touches again for Marcus Lentini, and the Lions are perhaps, at least the Coburg version, announcing themselves as a finals contender in the VFL in 2021.
Great win for Sandy over Willie as well. And Tristan Sherry suggesting he's going to launch it long.
We'll struggle to get the journey here, kicking into a wind. Just tangled in the ruck contest with Brooksby, and umpire deemed a hold. So
Brooksby about 51 metres from goal. So he's going to have to kick this 56.
He won't be able to get the journey. He
Doesn't
knows
try.
it. That's, see that
they weren't on the same page because Segler just cut it off.
If I know that, they should know that. He's kicked it straight to the resting ruckman. He's never going to get the journey. That's the dangerous spot that you would put it. And no kangaroo forwards are on the same page then.
Phillips to Kilpatrick, who almost stepped off over the mark. Greaves back to Phillips. Again, they look to sweep it forward from half back. In best position is Gunther again. And very impressive, as Brownie mentioned. Heron. Spent 3 years on the Gold Coast list. Jacob Heron. 13 AFL games, and here's the run from the back once again. Heron, it's his strong suit, goes inside 50, and Polidorus did well. Got separation from his man at just the right moment. The chance to go back and kick his first for the afternoon.
Most good forwards know how to use their body. All you need to give them is a chance. Favoured side, there was some good overlap run and carry, which we haven't seen a lot from the Kangaroos this afternoon. They kicked the ball in long, and Polidorus just protected the drop zone perfectly here.
Probably got about 12 or 13 kilos on Stu Horner, and he used it well.
So he just leant on him, and works back into the space. This is a really important kick.
To get back to within 21 points. Looking for their third of the term. Polidorus from 40 out, gets underneath it. It's a real wedge, but it's straight.
Wedge. Oh, that was a pitching wedge, not a 7-iron. They didn't get the reward for effort in the first quarter, but in this second term, 3 goals, and he didn't hit that well, but it went straight, and all of a sudden, there should be some real belief here in the North Melbourne change rooms going into half-time.
I'm just pleased he exists. In 6 years of doing this at 7 VFL, Alex Polidorus is the first bloke. I couldn't find a photo of him on the internet anywhere, Brownie.
Well,
wasn't sure he was real.
Does he have Instagram?
I didn't look there. Facebook, LinkedIn.
Real stalker here.
Yeah. He wasn't going TikTok. Settle down. Everyone's got their standards.
Reardon. Harry Jones finds an option. It's Gunther, and there's a bit more connection about North all of a sudden here, despite the fact this team has 12 changes. Hodge couldn't take the diving chest mark. DeWitt's on his favoured left side and hits up Kilpatrick. Morris looking for a third in the quarter. Saunders for a third of the afternoon. Again, it's a fat side ball. He's out of bounds on the full. So 3-1 to 3 straight in the quarter, as Campbell Brown touched on. This is a gallant effort from North, who came in with 260 games of VFL experience compared to Box Hill 607, and 52 AFL games compared to Box Hill's 240.
It wouldn't be often that you'd come to a game and not know some of your teammates. You know, and I'm sure that was the case this week and today for some of the North Melbourne players.
No question, for at least 6 of them. Here's Horner.
Debutants. They've adjusted well.
Porter to Nash. Howe turns back into traffic, manages to evade it. Off to Reeves. Quick kick off a step. Brooksby will arrive late. Boston-Avalagi at the front, immediately tackled.
That's all they need to do there, Boston-Avalagi. Just don't cough the ball up inside your defensive 50. He was set upon. He was never in any doubt to get pinged holding the footy there, so he did a really good job to get a stoppage.
Apologies, it was Reardon. Brooksby drops it. Then tries to feed it out. Here's Phillips. Answorth, quick kick. Can they clear the defensive 50? They're a chance now. Ford. Can he find a running target? He can. It's Bailey Scott, and he's away.
There's no one in their half of the ground here, though, pretty much. So Box Hill get ball back in hand. DeWitt to Newcomb to Beasley. North needing to shuffle back and defend furiously here as Connor Nash takes the mark. He'll run wide of Byrne, toe the line, send it towards Brooksby. Pepper is in the right spot, and he got a perfect shield from Keegan Brooksby, and Pepper had the presence just to take the power off the footy and take it on the second bite.
When Bailey Scott got the ball in the middle of the ground, he looked up and there was no one there. He tried to manufacture a kick out to the wing. It'd still be easy to defend inside your forward 50 than on the wing. The ball gets turned over, goes straight into Box Hill's forward 50. I was out the other week and I had a good conversation with Harry Pepper, and for the whole time I was talking to him, I thought it was Connor Nash, and I probably should have picked up that he didn't have the Irish accent.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I eventually got about 5 minutes in and he actually said, oh, my name's Harry.
Oh, no.
I was a little bit flat with myself.
Did he come back at you and say, I thought you were fantastic as the sub in the 2013 Grand Final? I thought you were Jonathan Simpkin? Because that's the only comeback that would have squared things up.
He was too polite for that, but yeah, oh no.
Oh, no.
And
kick in straight to Brooksby.
He's been good, Brooksby, being used as a forward come ruckman to help out Segler and Reeves. And
Harrison Gunther's about as flat as you were when you were talking to Harry Pepper.
Yeah, well, that's right. But just kicked it a little bit too low. He's kicked it straight to his direct opponent too, which is a double whammy here, and does a little bit of the good work.
Right on half-time. This would be a telling goal for Box Hill. Re-establish that lead out at around about 5 goals, and Brooksby nurses it through nicely. So a couple of goals in this second term to Box Hill from direct turnovers from North in their back 50.
Yeah, well, it's 5 goals from turnovers of the 7, so they've stood up structurally really well in around the grounds. It's just when they have turned that ball over coming out of the back half, I mean, this is just a gift. The Box Hill have been able to make them pay, and Brooksby, he goes into the AFL journeyman category. 3 AFL clubs, started at the Suns, went to West Coast, had a year in the Waffle, and got picked up by the Hawks. Showing his age a bit too. He's got a few grades.
Distinguished.
Yeah, real George Clooney look about him, but hit that beautifully.
So both teams the beneficiary of scores from turnovers. It's 6-4 to 3 on that line as Bailey Scott flies away from the clearance. The Grice took the front spot. Baker took the mark. He'll get a look at his second.
Another strong mark there, and that's probably the first time this afternoon we've seen just a direct centre clearance. Nice and deep inside the forward 50. And another Kangaroos forward that just used his body well. Just right there, just a little nudge. Didn't over-emphasise it on LaGrice and can go back and kick his second for the term.
Bailey Scott, incidentally, with 19 possessions as we tick towards half-time. There is the siren. So Mark Baker for his second of the quarter to bring the margin back to 22 points at the half. Misses to the left-hand side, but nonetheless, a pretty good quarter there from the Kangaroos, who boast just 5 AFL-listed players in their VFL lineup this afternoon. They kicked 3 goals, 1 in the quarter Box Hill peeling off 4 goals to 2 goals to both Morris and Saunders for the Hawks, in the margin at half-time here at Box Hill is 27 points.
Yes, a massive game of Friday night football next week with the Tigers taking on the Lions. But in the meantime, it's back off to Box Hill for the VFL, and it's safe to say the Hawks are in control at half-time. But North Melbourne have surprised a lot of us, Jason Bennett, by sticking with them, but the Kangaroos will be pretty disappointed with their turnovers.
Yes, Abs, it's really been the decisive factor in this first half. The turnovers, Brownie. 6 of Box Hill's 7 goals coming directly from North Melbourne's mistakes.
Yeah, 6 goals for 10 of the 13 scoring shots they've had. Kangaroos have been terrific down back. They're structured up really well, but they've been their own worst enemy on occasions. Here, they're out. They've got overlap. That kick just a little bit too high. DeWitt comes off his man, follows up, and they hurt them the other way. And that just comes down to a little bit of experience as far as I'm concerned. Some of it's poor decision-making. Other times it's the right decision, like that occasion, but just poorly executed. And 12 AFL-listed players, and Box Hill have got some really experienced VFL-listed guys who just make you pay. Guys like Mercedes, that's a very preventable goal. Just a poor kick in from a guy who's had a terrific afternoon. Gunter this afternoon, probably his only mistake. So they're right in this contest. They've beaten Box Hill in the clearances. They've been competitive around the footy. They're hitting the scoreboard, but just if they can just eliminate some of those turnovers, they'll be right back in the contest.
Dan Howe leading the game for Box Hill with 18 possessions. Bailey Scott's had 19 for the Kangaroos. As we start the second half, Sevens VFL match of the day from Box Hill City Oval. It's the Hawks leading by 27 points.
Sherry, that immediately accosted was Watkins. He kept the play alive. Answorth couldn't get a handball free. Howe was over the top of him. Kate Answorth desperately making an attempt. Of course, older brother of Brisbane Lion Noah Answorth.
Finn McGuinness running with Phillips, who kept him to the 8 disposals there in the first half. It's been a nice battle this afternoon.
Answorth kick ricochet to the benefit of the Hawks. Howe to Kilpatrick, to Pepper, who was stripped straight away in the Bosena Valagi tackle. Howe goes again. McGuinness, Mercedes, back to DeWitt, his partner in crime, patrolling half-back. Left foot ball, Jekka allowed it to bounce. He'll try and work a figure 8 here on Donnelly. Slices it back and board for Newcomb.
Newcomb gets it and goes. Launches it long inside 50. Howe there at the front of the contest. A bit of pushing and shoving. Mark taken by Murphy. He's done a couple of good things under some pressure this afternoon. Let's have a look at the ball use on the way out here for the Kangas. Goes long in the Sherry direction. He's got Reeves to beat. Reeves thumps it back inside 50. Morris has been dangerous. Feeds it off. Kilpatrick. Masiti looks to push it wide, but turns it over. And getting in the way there is Lewis Cunningham. 8 touch for him coming up. Pokes it wide towards the wing. Ford there on the bounce. Gathers just inside the line. Looks for an option. Tries to turn Porter, who did really well. And DeWitt thumps it over and out.
Quite like Eddie Ford's game today. He's presented well as a high forward. He's taken some nice marks. It's probably just been a fraction slow at them wheeling and kicking inside the forward 50, but he's finding the ball, which is the most difficult part as a forward.
Justin Reeves, Hawthorn CEO there, watching on in the crowd with his wife Susie. Watching their son Ned run around in number 37. There he is, contesting in the ruck, getting it down to Howe. Bounces it towards half forward. Logan Young dispossessed by Phillips. Howe lays another tackle. Coming through was Phillips. Answorth. Hodge turns and delivers inside 50. A wrestle. Both players go to ground at the back. Greaves one-on-one with Polydorus. Swooping in there was Maserotti. Quick hands from Baker. Answorth dribbles goalward and puts it through. North get the first and the third.
He's the most experienced player on this North Melbourne list. 70 games with Sandringham. He's classy. He's won best and fairest. He's been a co-captain for that club, and he's come to the Kangaroos, and he's showing his leadership. He's showing his skill nudge. That was a magnificent finish.
Top 3 in Sandy's best and fairest on 3 occasions, of course. He was best and fairest in a TAC Cup Grand Final for the Oakley Chargers as well. We'll see a recall bounce. As we mentioned, that cricket wicket area getting progressively stickier as
good jump.
Things get colder and wetter in Melbourne. He's got a toe on it. Ainsworth got a kick backhander that came back in the end to Phillips as he was lying down. Extricating himself was Cunningham. Goes looking for Bosenovalagi to Ford. Comes inboard. Neat use to find Ainsworth, who's had a busy start.
That's good,
to the
good
third quarter.
There, just back into the corridor, finding a target, and they've come out after half-time playing very well.
Ainsworth skipper with Flynn Appleby, the North VFL captain, former Collingwood listed player, out with concussion at the moment. Here's Cunningham off his line on the left. Fist from Reeves over the top of Sherry. Phillips is at the fall. He's got a runner outside. It's Minot, who kicked an excellent goal in the second quarter. Toes it up for Jekka, who finds it on the lead.
It's a hard matchup because he's so agile.
Delivers it low and hard inside 50. Segler is his target, and he marks against Donnelly. Wants to go quickly. Squares it up. Howe's got the sit here. Over the top came Murphy once again. Did really well. Got it to ground. Gunther's handball intercepted by Kilpatrick, but he cops it up to Donnelly. Donnelly just spirals a kick out of the danger zone. It's marked by DeWitt, who delivers it back inside and finds Minot. He'll turn and go from 50. He spears it low. Morris and Saunders. And Saunders has it.
Like a little jack in the box. Saunders, he's bobbed up on a couple of occasions and kicked 2 goals, one in the first, one in the second on that occasion. Right spot. Good low flat kick inside the forward 50, and hasn't had a lot of disposals, but they've been effective this afternoon, going back to kick goal number 3.
So Jack Saunders to respond here for the Hawks. 30 out, directly in front. Guides it through.
That occasion, it was another turnover goal. They just needed to hack the ball out under a little bit of pressure, and Box Hill set up that wall really well. Immediately came back in, and Saunders now got 3, and he's having a nice afternoon. But the Kangaroos are continuing to win the clearances, which is an aspect of the game that will keep them in good stead.
Yeah, 23-20 the way of the Roos out of the middle. Make it 24 with Scott's handball to Phillips. Gather, works his way through Brooksby. Young gave it back. Brooksby now to Mercedes, and Hawks can slide into rebound mode. Phillips on the half volley for Greaves. Bring it back to the point of the square for Mercedes. So control once again in the hands of the home side. Horner was the emergency and late in to Kilpatrick. The only one of the Hawks in the lineup this afternoon to play in their 2018 VFL flag. Here's Emerson Jekka, who kicked 1-3 in the opening quarter.
He's playing a little bit higher in this third quarter.
Easy pickings, bit of tic-tac-toe here for Box Hill. Mercedes to Beasley. Another stat here for Horner. Not his best effort. Scott was almost off and gone, but just had a look away. Downey stole it off him. Nash, Newcomb runs to 45. Lowers the vision, gives it back to North and Gunther.
So can they string together some chunks of possession? Bosenovalagi met solidly there by Phillips. He goes short to Heron, who loves to run and take the game on. Handball to the run from behind came from Harry Jones. He chips it down the wing. Scott, can he get the hands free? He can't. Good tackle from Minot. Trent Minot, the former Bomber. To Kilpatrick. Now Phillips. So the Hawks controlling the territory battle right now and the tempo of the game. Newcomb dishes to Kilpatrick, who runs to 52 metres. Delivers towards Reeves, couldn't quite haul it in. Saunders has kicked 3, wants to give one off. McGuinness stands underneath it, good contest. In fact, that's a mark. Great effort from Will Phillips.
It's been an intriguing battle this afternoon. Probably a 0-0 draw at the moment, but a goal-saving spoil, and then second grab mark from Phillips.
11 touches for Will Phillips.
To Reardon, to Murphy, who's now forced a handball forward for Young, who's tackled by LaGrasse. A couple of fists there from Pepper. Reardon, he's got some real speed off the mark. To Hodge. Driving the head in was Porter. Ball be thrown up in front of a pretty healthy crowd adjacent to this stoppage on the terraces at Box Hill.
Yeah, it's gone to the Jason Bennett hairdresser, I reckon. So that fringe is magnificent.
Mine's natural.
Kick inside 50 from the Hawks. Back to the hair in a moment. Reeves. It was an infringement, and it was largely out of panic, you'd imagine, with Murphy at 193 centimetres standing. All of Ned Reeves almost 7 feet.
He's getting better and better each time I see him play. He is really athletic. He's worked hard on his hands, especially above his head. Resting forward, he's been able to hit the scoreboard on occasions and showing some really nice signs.
AFL list management now, when it comes to rucks, is about stockpiling, and that's exactly what the Hawks have got here with Ned Reeves, the 22-year-old. Misses there to the left-hand side, though, so he can't add to the major he kicked here back in round 2. The margin is at 28.
Kangaroo players just snuck on here. Connor Byrne, if he sees him, they've gone the other side.
Aaron goes short to Reardon. Showing some good signs on debut, Elijah Reardon. Definitely got some AFL traits about him. Incredibly athletic, but that kick poor. Turns it over to Howe.
That right there is the difference in the margin today. You know, they've done so many things really, really well. And it's just been the kicking coming out of the back half on occasions. And that one was the absolute right option. Just overcooked the kick a little bit, and it opens up the door for the experienced Daniel Howe to go back and extend the margin here.
73 AFL games. This is 32nd VFL goal since joining the system at the end of 2014. Skips to 50, launches long, and punishes Reardon for the turnover.
Beautiful finish from Howe, who's having a great afternoon. 21 disposals. That's his first goal, and he's putting his hand up for AFL selection. There is going to be some changes. You can't lose to the bottom side on the ladder and not expect there to be too many changes. So there's going to be players here today coming to Box Hill, hoping if they play well, they'll be knocking on the door.
They were blasted in the clearances yesterday down at UTAS Stadium. The Hawks, Dan Howe's had 5 this afternoon for Box Hill. Newcomb, despite the jumper tug from Watkins. Ball to win here for Ainsworth, who's had a really busy third quarter. Howe, the most recent goal kicker, spun the full clock face to send it to half forward. It gets through a couple of sets of hands. Pepper pretty much ran past the ball. Reardon's hand pass went via Ainsworth, who then tackles Minor. Did well to stay up in the contest, as did Pepper. Jecker, Newcomb will drive once and twice. Gunther into the ground.
And they're the little things. Elijah Reardon again, great at finding the football, good acceleration, but missed his target. Just comes with experience.
Just game number 1. Yeah, Elijah Reardon's shown some really nice signs, but you tend to just lack that composure in your first few games. You get it, you want to get rid of it like a hot potato. He's just made some skill errors.
Segler works his way free, heading towards Jecker. High fly came from Jones, who landed heavily. Work to do here for the North defence. Pepper receives, steps, snaps. Takes the margin out to 40.
First goal in a brown and gold jumper for Harry Pepper, or was it Connor Nash?
He's got the forward's haircut now with the shaved sides, but he's moved well as a forward. He could have had a couple. He's missed his first few set shots on goal, but on that occasion the snap was good, and the margin now just getting out a little bit, and this is the concern when fatigue kicks in a little bit. This young group, how long can they hang around for?
Segler in the ruck against Sherry. Nice work from Segler. Ainsworth soccers off the deck. Sherry follows up, gets it to Scott, who busts out again. Here's an opportunity for the quick response. Mazzarotti gives it off. Scott the finish. That's a wonderful goal. So the word from inside the North Melbourne camp, Bailey Scott working on his running capacity, and also his patterns, Brownie, to get to the right spots, to have make some damage. Is he a forward wing or a wing forward? They're still trying to work that out, but that was really pleasing.
Magnificent, and the follow-up run as well. Once he'd handballed it over the top to Mazzarotti to get it back, and then steady yourself, compose yourself, and kick a goal. Really quick reply by the Kangaroos, and when they've got it out of their centre clearances really quickly, they have been able to score against Box Hill.
He can sniff a goal, Bailey Scott. 14 from 22 at AFL level. Minot almost trying to do the impersonation. Newcomb, he'll load up from beyond the 50. That's prodigious.
If John Newcomb can add this to his game, Brownie, that polish and that finishing ability, he becomes even more of an interesting proposition for us.
Oh, he's got the grunt, he's got the hardness, he's a competitor, and you're right, if he can get out of stoppages and kick long-range goals from 50 and add that to your resume, it adds a great dimension to your game.
This time it's Minot who busts out of the middle. Suddenly it's a shootout at City Oval. That's a lovely mark from Reardon, who hits the ground running. Sells his teammate into trouble, though, in Byrne. And the turnover comes. Saunders tries to step Donnelly. Flips a handball. Jekka driven hard in the tackle by Boston Valagi. Here's Reardon again to Byrne. Tackled as he kicked. It affected the kick off the fist of DeWitt. Pings around in the air. McGuinness controls it at ground level. Feeds a handball to Howe. Brilliantly steps through some traffic. Releases DeWitt. Pokes a little kick in the Phillips direction. He's tackled by Mazzarotti and will be rewarded. Lovely tackle.
He pinned one arm there, which was the key. Didn't sling him into the ground. 18-year-old
from Lilydale in the Eastern Rangers. Gives it off to Byrne. Heads in the Sherry direction. Baker there as well. The only man to keep his feet was Beasley, but ball ricocheted off it. So margin out to 40 points. There's Hugh Beasley. North Melbourne would love a goal or two here to just try and get this margin back within 4 or 5 goals by three-quarter time and keep that belief alive.
So Segler has the better of Sherry there. Tackled immediately was Phillips, as was Scott. You hear the call, the free kick will go the way of Newcomb, and Scott's a little bit slow to get up here. Newcomb takes the advantage in from Mercedes. Polidorus almost mowed him down. Outstretched arm of Kilpatrick did well to grab it, send it deep. Saunders outbodied Reardon. Brooksby at the back against Murphy, keeps it alive. Saunders does well. Space of the handball for Morris. What a partnership they've been this afternoon. Morris has a third.
Well, they play very similar, these two, hunting around the football, and a really classy finish. So they've both got 3 this afternoon and been really dangerous small crumbing forwards.
For those who are in the ad break, Brownie just suggested that Morris and Saunders look like twins.
Well, a similar height.
Not in the slightest.
Similar complexion.
2 arms, 2 legs. That's about where the similarities end.
Both classy.
Still not twins.
Segler. Maybe just not identical ones. Phillips goes back and wins it for the Kangas. Dishes it off to Harry Jones. Ainsworth has to stand and wait. Cunningham involved now. Gives it off to Hodge. Miller Hodge kicks towards half forward. Mazzarotti's target, one-on-one with DeWitt in the air. Mercedes at ground level tried to paddle to advantage, then fashions a quick kick in the Kilpatrick direction. He gives it off to Downey, who can go for a run. Almost lost the bounce, was confronted by Ainsworth, so popped a handball inside. No one there, and the turnover comes. Ainsworth gets it back from Jones. Chips it short, and North did well. They stuck to the task. They forced the turnover. And now it's in the hands of Lewis Cunningham.
Comes wide, the lead from Reardon, who's pushed forward here. Kilpatrick, and off the set of hands and out. So if you're just joining us, you can see the scoreboard flash up. Of course, Melbourne and Carlton to follow this one this afternoon as the D's look to remain undefeated. There's a bit happening off the ball here, incidentally, with Sherry at the bottom left of your screen there. So I'll reconvene. But margin at 46, but there's 5 AFL listed players in North's team, 12 AFL listed players in the Box Hill side, and 7 debutants, 4 of them NAB League players in the North Melbourne team as well. They've scrounged together a lineup here this afternoon, but they've fought pretty valiantly so far. 3 goals to Morris and Saunders for the Hawks, and just that bit of polish and a bit more connection, really the difference. Gunther to Donnelly, the Tasmanians link up here. There's several Tasmanian products in the lineup. Cunningham at full stretch, wanting something to come at him, could run his full turn. And Horner was the spare man in defence, which Box Hill have had the luxury of several times this afternoon. That's not the required distance.
Nah, that went about
You
8
are
metres.
kidding me. That is nowhere near 15 metres in any form of measurement whatsoever. Damien Mercedes, the Box Hill captain in game 1 of 7, though. We'll
Connor
enjoy it.
Byrne was just about ready to pounce then until the umpire blew the whistle.
Segler has it at half-back.
Done well here defensively, North Melbourne, just to slow them up. Now they can pounce.
Grabs a kick towards Phillips. It's clean. Minor. Downey now under pressure, taken down. Reardon couldn't quite collect it. Well done by Porter. Came busting through, got it to Phillips. Awkward one for Reeves, takes it low down. Quick release to Saunders. Saunders can drill it wide towards Jecker, and there's the difference between the two sides right there.
So close to turning the ball over. They did everything right, slowed them up, forced the turnover, a little fumble, and the game opens up the other way offensively for Box Hill. And what about the hands below his knees there from Reeves? Terrific. Immediately gave the handball to the running Saunders, who lowered his eyes. That little bit of polish, Jace, is just been the difference here this afternoon. He's been quiet since quarter time.
Some of that will come with experience for these young Kangas as Jecker a chance to kick his second. He's just drifted it across the face. Could have been a big day for Emerson Jecker as he tries to fight his way back into the lineup. He's kicked 1 goal 4.
Yeah, and 1 goal 2 in the first quarter, and been pretty well held since then.
Oh, huge fly from Ford. What a grab. His athletic prowess on show. Exactly the reason why the Roos read his name out at pick 56 in last year's draft. That's fantastic. The kick's even higher. Beasley outpoints Baker. DeWitt. Someone not happy with the ball.
Special comment.
Nash inboard for Downey. Hill steady. Chip it on the left. And again, they're spraying bullets the Hawks. Going forward. Margin at 48 points. And how's this launch from Eddie Ford?
That's the best of his 5 grabs this afternoon. He keeps presenting, which is what you like to see from a forward.
And the moments that you wanted to see coming here today, if you're involved with the Kangaroos, he grabs one out on the opposite flank.
Chips it inboard to Donnelly. Has to stretch, but takes it at defensive 50. Tom Donnelly, 21 years old from North Launceston. Played in a hat-trick of premierships for North Lonnie, 17 to 19. Goes short to Harry Jones. This has been the challenge when the football's in this part of the ground for North, just being able to navigate through this Box Hill zone. Answorth now with that problem in front of him. Haven't been able to get the fluent fast break movement that the Hawks have generated in the other direction. Good lead, and it's honoured to Maserotti. He just chips it high down the line. Sets his big men a task. Sherry flies at it. Phillips at ground level, gives it off to Minard, gets the hands free, works it to Horner. Now Greaves. McGuinness back to Greaves. They look to switch to the broadcast wing. Presenting is Saunders. He'll get it and go. Turns and delivers to Jecker, who's getting silver service this afternoon. He's got a man, Pepper, working towards the pocket. Well read by Ford. Summed that up beautifully. Got across and worked the angle.
Enjoying the time being a little bit higher up the ground here, Eddie Ford. Played senior footy in the Western Region Footy League with Yarraville Seddon as a 15-year-old. Goes looking for Baker. Bodied early by Greaves, and then simple mark for Dan Howe. This will be touch number 24 on his afternoon to go with a third quarter goal. Game high. Bailey Scott with 21 for the Roos. Segler, Murphy won't claim the mark, just tossed the handball casually as Morris was able to clasp Basenavalagi.
Smart football there from Hamish Murphy. Just kept nudging Segler under the footy so he couldn't get a really good run and grab at it.
He's a smart player at 193 centimetres, isn't he? He's copying some much taller opponents.
Yep, and the bodywork there just helped him bring that ball to ground.
Cunningham can't keep that ball in despite the attempt. We can see Elijah Reardon for North Melbourne getting some work done on his right hand here on the interchange bench in front of us.
Strapping on the thumb for Reardon. He's had a busy day down back for the Kangas. Ford involved again. It spills to Minor. Howe again manages to slice his way through traffic and find a target. It's Morris. Or is it Saunders? I just can't tell.
Eddie Ford and Horner just going at it a little bit, and as they were wrestling, the ball came their way. Really, Horner really made him earn that.
Straight over Brownie's head.
I was too busy watching the...
For once, he's the one concentrating.
The potential melee.
Oh, yes, that would always distract your attention. That's priority
It's
one.
the only thing that distracts me.
So Josh Morris, goal in each quarter, chance to kick his fourth. Been a really productive day. Shown some class in the front half this afternoon. The wind's going to take that one across the face once again.
50 points now. Game's starting to open up in this third quarter, but...
There's Saunders, by the way.
Yeah.
Doesn't look at all like Morris. One's got a moustache for a start.
Yeah, well...
No.
I'm sure
5 to 2 straight in the
Jack
quarter.
Saunders can grow a moustache.
Yeah, but he doesn't have one.
You could also have copious amounts of plastic surgery, but he still won't look like Josh Morris. Here's Donnelly with the mark. Margin at 50 as we approach three-quarter time. Board for Gunther. Solid work on Gunther from Newman. Keep it to this Middleborough Road side of the ground. Tyrese Liu wasn't able to take the mark. Porter comes in board. Greaves did well to keep the play alive, had a couple to beat, then stepped back through the traffic. Kick looking for Mercedes, who just almost wants to camp on it. Rugby style. Over the top, Young was quick to lock eyes on the umpire.
He's done some nice things this afternoon too, Damon Greaves. Got a taste of AFL footy late last year and just struggling to work his way back into the Hawthorn defence, but putting his name up in lights this afternoon.
It was the medical sub in round 7 against the Saints. His only AFL interaction this year is Gunther's fist overline out, and as is custom now, that is deliberate. So free kick will go the way of Box Hill as they try and find a sixth major of the term before three-quarter time.
Emerson Jekka punches it low towards Nash at half forward. It clears that contest and dribbles out in front of Brooksby.
Free kick count been relatively even this afternoon. Hasn't been a lot of them, which is good.
Umpire's not so much of a factor this week, Brownie. After your chat with umpire boss Dan Richardson during the week, you're taking credit for that?
Certainly should.
Thank you on behalf of all of us for straightening up the game. Reeves the tap, but it's intercepted by Hodge. Bends it back towards the wing. A one-on-one contest between Mazzarotti and DeWitt. Mazzarotti bumped off his kick.
Oh,
got played by Mine. It's done some really good things today. Receives a handball from Phillips, gives it back to Phillips.
It's a genuine 50-50 ball. Mine at one. Switches on if they want it.
Off to Cunningham. Drills it inside 50. Greaves stands his ground. Chance at ground level for Reardon. Tried to flip it to Young. Newcomb slapped it on. Taken by Liu. He's taken the ground. McGuinness has stood up in the tackle. It's been a comfortable day for Hawk fans. Margin now out to 50 points. They haven't had it all their own way. North have put up a fight, but the Hawks' polish and class is telling as Phillips spirals it deep. And a chance for Jekka here if he could just get away from Gunther. He can't. Well played by the Tasmanian defender.
So denies the Hawks a 17th inside 50 of the quarter. North's most recent entry was their 6th. 5-5 to 2 goals in the quarter. Answorth 10 touches for North. Kilpatrick 9 for Box Hill in the term. Sherry couldn't mark. Can grab it. Get a handball free somehow of Mercedes, and that ball will work its way to the line despite the efforts of Jack Watkins as Chris Newman with Richie Vandenberg, Hawthorn board member and former skipper to his right.
Power broker.
That's how he likes me to describe him.
Fair enough.
He's just up in his town, Mildura, for a couple of days, and every question I was asked is, where's Richie Vandenberg? How have you spoken to him recently? Obviously being a Wentworth boy.
I think there was 2 questions, Jace. The other one was, are you going to pay for that, sir?
Yes. Put it on the Vandenberg tab.
Yeah, that's right. But strong ties there. Family still lives there.
Hawks play Carlton next Saturday at the MCG. I know they've got Ben McAvoy doing great work in the ruck. Is it time to throw Ned Reeves an AFL game?
I think so. Hawthorn really just need to move the magnets around a bit, give some opportunity. It's rebuild time. And the only way you find out what some of the young kids are capable of is by giving them opportunity.
8 possessions, 3 marks so far this afternoon for Reeves, but
you can always play McAvoy as a defender like they tried 18 months ago.
7 of his 16 hitouts have been to advantages. Jekka marks and boots his second. Margin of 56. The Hawks have kicked 6 goals in the quarter, and Emerson Jekka had 1 forward to that stage, and you could just see there was a little bit of frustration being dished out on the Sherrin as he kicked it into Whitehorse Road.
He was never going to miss that one. He's used his body well there, and he's had a reasonably good game. He'd be disappointed. The opportunity he got at AFL level didn't quite work out for him, but there's probably no tougher role in the modern game as playing as a key position forward, especially as a young guy still learning the caper. Both matches he played against the Saints and the West Coast Eagles weren't the most obliging for a forward. Hawthorn was soundly beaten in both games, so he'll continue to knock on the door, Box Hill level, and get multiple opportunities later in the year, I've got no doubt.
So as we head for three-quarter time, the margin at 56 points. It's been another very productive term for Box Hill. Reeves jumped early, got the tap. Bailey Scott tracks it at ground level. Was held when not in possession. He'll have his 22nd possession of the afternoon.
Oh, no.
Just had his 22nd possession, or almost didn't get it away. Donnelly. High towards Young at half forward. LaGrice. Beasley at ground level, scrapping in there against Mazzarotti. Here's another look. Tried to take on Minot. He wasn't selling.
Yeah, they just had a little bit of argy-bargy just before that too, so Minot making sure he stuck that tackle.
Quick kick out of the contest. Bounces forward for Lou. Was he taken down in the back? He was. An opportunity for the youngster, the 18-year-old, to go back and kick his first goal in VFL football and get a little bit of return for his hard work this afternoon.
Yeah, he's used his body well on a couple of occasions, and on that passage of play, Grief just a fraction overzealous. The tackle didn't linger, but he just grabbed onto him for a little bit too long. So Tyrese Lou, after the siren, can go back and kick his first in VFL footy.
Grew up a North Melbourne fan, so this would be a very special moment for him. It's actually on Hawthorn's Next Generation Academy list until he was about 15 years of age. And well done, Tyrese Lou gets the goal after the three-quarter time siren. And North get their third for the term. It was all Box Hill. They kicked 6 goals to 3, and at three-quarter time, they lead by 50 points on Seven's VFL Match of the Day. Quarter time at Box Hill City Oval. It's the Hawks in control. They lead by 50 points as we check out the highlights thanks to the 3-litre Isuzu D-Max. Go your own way. And the Hawks have been in control for most of the afternoon. Lovely finish, this one from Trent Minot. Just stepped around, increased the angle, and this has pretty much been the story of the day. Josh Morris getting on the end of a turnover. And the Kangas conceding goals on a regular basis to Box Hill off the turnover. A little bit of magic from the pocket here from Kate Answorth. Got one back for the North Melbourne side. Well, fought on valiantly. Eddie Ford with a highlight. Front of the stand here at Box Hill. Big fly over the top came from Harry Jones. It was the Hawks at the back tidying up, and Harry Pepper stepped through and kicked his first goal in a Hawks jumper. They booted 6 goals to 3 in that third term. 6-5 to 3 behinds to extend their 27-point half-line lead out to 50 points at three-quarter time. 13-11 to 6-3, 39. As we take you inside the North Melbourne camp, Lee Adams, their coach, has been kind enough to join us. Lee, what was your message at three-quarter time?
Yeah, Joe, I was just around our contest work, our contest balance. We got outworked inside the stoppages, and we go down -5 in clearances and -10 or so in the contested footy, which we'd done really well in the first half, and we just got away from it in that quarter.
Yeah, I know. Speaking to you before the game, you were mentioning the contests were a real focus, and for most of the afternoon, you've done really, really well on the inside.
Yeah, we've been really good. We just got away from that method a little bit of getting outnumbered inside and then really letting them get on the outside of us. It's really cost us and put our defenders under a lot of pressure.
Just talk us through what we spoke off camera before the game, and I thought it was really interesting, the inside of when you've got 7 debutants and a bunch of guys coming into your program that haven't been there before. How do you simplify things to make sure everyone can get on the same page?
Oh, it's really about the contest, Jason, and that's what we've done really well in the first half, and it allowed us to defend in our front half and allowed us to defend the game really well. But when the game's played in your back half for so long, it makes it really hard to defend and get offence from there.
Well, best of luck in the last term, mate. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, mate.
Lee Adams, former Coburg coach, now in charge down at North Melbourne. As Nigel Carmody and Campbell Brown return from the respective three-quarter time huddles. What did Sam Mitchell have to say in the final break?
He was relatively happy with how it was, the structures were all working. The three rucks have been good in their specific roles. Segler dropping back, trying to help out defensively, and the forwards taking some marks and impacting. Obviously, the clearances was something that was touched on. North Melbourne have probably had the better of the clearances and around the ground stuff. So for a side with such experience and quality in the midfield, that's something they want to really get on top of in this last term.
Percentage will be a factor this year as 8 teams, or 22 teams, fight for 8 final spots. Can Box Hill put the foot down in the final term? Or can the Kangaroos hit back hard here at City Oval? Sherry in the ruck against Segler. Sherry then comes in over the top and strips Newcombe of the football. Tries to feed it out to Ainsworth. He's got Byrne waiting on the outside, but can't quite take possession. It's under the legs of Dan Howe. Finn McGuinness arises with the football. Segler the tap it straight to Byrne, was collected high by Minot.
McGuinness 10 disposals, Phillips 12. He's probably getting on top in that battle.
Connor Byrne has his 18th. He's been really good, worked hard all afternoon for the Kangas. Short ball from Watkins. It's marked by Will Phillips. Little chip kick, just the required distance back to Watkins. Now Byrne getting involved again, steps around inside. Little chip kick was good. In fact, it was Jones who delivered it to Lou.
It's the run and carry, it creates something. You're never exactly sure what's going to happen, but you're forced into playing quickly, and good bit of composure there. First from Phillips to lower the eyes, get the run and carry, and they get the desired result, which is a mark inside 50.
So Lou kicked a goal after the siren in three-quarter time. A chance to kick 2 in the space of a minute and a half of football. He trots to 52. He'll give it a launch. The breeze is going to push it way left. He misses the lot.
It was always going to be a pretty tough kick.
It's averaged 16 possessions and 4 marks a game with the Eastern Rangers in the NAB League so far this season. All in denim jackets only, in cans in hands behind the goals.
It's the way it should be.
White horse right into the
Urban
ground.
footy.
As Lou gets involved once again and gang tackled by Nash and Morris.
It's an interesting prospect, isn't it? 194.91 as being, he's played as a tall midfielder and as a pinch hitting forward at NAB level.
77-centimetre vertical jump at the testing in March. So, yeah, got that power. It's a question of, I guess, overlaying the tank to go with it as well. And probably something, a factor for a number of these NAB League players in the North lineup this afternoon is trying to run this game out at AFL level, or at least as close to as they can in the final half an hour of the match. It's been a good effort on paper. It looked like it could have been well north of 100 points, but they've stuck to their task admirably, both AFL and VFL listed players, along with the Riggins. Byrne's been one of them, as has Watkins. Neat kick on the hit up for Ford, who's marked everything that's come in his vicinity in this second half. Off to Bailey Scott, searching for his second, goes deep and carries all. He's having a great game. No, it's been touched off the boot, so
Eddie Ford
flicked off the hands as Sam Frost watching on.
Eddie Ford's hands have been absolutely terrific this afternoon. A real standout, and immediately gave the handball. So there's no doubt that that's been one of the instructions by Lee Adams. Just play on. Let's just continue to take some risks and get some free-flowing footy.
Connor Nash trots away at half-back, kicks to the wing. Brooksby, big collision. Bosanavalagi came across the contest and committed his body. North have the numbers at the back. Ainsworth links up with Cunningham. Chips a kick towards half forward. It's punched away by Horner. Greaves at the back. Dangerous kick is going to be cut off by Baker. Can North now capitalise on a Box Hill turnover? as he delivers inside 50 and finds Reardon, who's been pushed forward.
Yeah, I like this move. He's got some leg speed. He's been more than serviceable down back this afternoon. Just made a few skill errors, but he's found the footy okay, and he's gone forward and has a shot to kick his first goal in VFL footy as well.
The Kingborough Tigers in Hobart, the player with most potential in 2019, was in the Team of the Year last year in the State League. Disappointing finish there. Just sneaks in for a minor score.
He was a forward, but got moved to half-back last year at Kingborough with real results. Originally from the little town of Cygnet, just south of Hobart. So Mercedes with an easy passage to buy himself 10 and then kick it 50 and then some. Flies are plenty of coming. Segler and Brooksby, and Segler made it his own. Quick to take it. Jecker got up over the top of Gunther, who could trap the footy, flick it wide for Answorth, who's had a big second half. It was dealt with by Jecker as he kicked, but it was effective for Ford, and Answorth will just brush it off and then run through to the right of your TV screen there.
Does he get a mark for that, considering it was a down-the-field free kick? Don't all answer at once.
Sherry. Scott was able to find it. Quick flick at it from Watkins. No mark to be claimed there by Beasley. Sorry to be talking while you're interrupting Campbell. I don't have two mouths.
They've started off this quarter really well. A couple of marks inside 50, a few shots that haven't gone straight, but it's been a really admirable 4 quarters so far from the Kangaroos.
Phillips has been warned closely by McGuinness throughout. Mine it with a clever step towards Brooksby and Murphy, or you can flip a coin, and usually it's going to go against the defender in those situations.
The arm bar applied. It was on the side that the umpire was standing on. So Brooksby quickly to Kilpatrick, who's managed to sneak forward without being picked up. He's kicked just wide of Nash, who then gives the don't argue to Harry Jones and delivers towards the top of the square, and that was beautiful football from Connor Nash. He finds Dan Howe, 25 out directly in front.
Great athleticism there from the Irishman, and he was under pressure, just gave that Dustin Martin type fend off, and the kick was lace out to Howe, who's been clearly the best man on the ground. 25 touches, going back for goal number 2.
It's been a good balance for Howe as well. 10 contested possessions, 15 uncontested possessions, 7 tackles, 5 clearances, 4 inside 50s. It's been a good all-round performance. Chance now to cap it with his second for the afternoon, and he drives it through.
So margin gets extended a little bit further. I hope for the Kangaroos' sake that they can just continue to fight this game out. You can lose, and you can lose admirably, and at the moment they've been terrific in their endeavours. You just don't hope the margin blows out to a number that they don't deserve.
Dan Howe's 26-2 matches his output against North at VFL level back in round 8 2018, as Reeves is penalised for the tackle on Sherry. Eventually all the handball options have cleared, so Big Tristan will kick, and kick high. Ford presenting at it, ran under it, as did the fist of Greaves. Horner for Beasley. Fending off him is Porter, who has to screw that kick about around his body on the left. Double-footed jump from Cunningham, and then the clever mark. So left-sided, he'll run straight there, and like his chances from beyond the 50. Baker hoping for a free. Ford a mark, neither forthcoming, and Kangaroos get a 6th behind of the afternoon. Here's the tackle of Reeves on Sherry, and what's in that, Campbell?
Nothing's in that, a free kick, and that's what was paid.
So Greaves will have the kick in.
It did look a little bit awkward, but there was no malice intent for him to...
Is there any recklessness or carelessness?
None of that either.
So nothing to answer.
No.
Newcomb has it off the back edge of the square. Delivers to Jecker. Arcs in front of Gunther. Smack bang centre wing. Delivers inside 50. Brooksby works hard to get there. Did the work and then dropped the mark. Nash had to be quick. Tried to feed it back to Saunders. Cunningham got in the way. Heron. Dispossessed was Watkins. Kilpatrick to Saunders. Bumped as he kicked.
Stubbed his toe on the ground then.
Gets up a little sore. It's Luke Bruce watching on with Lockie Bramble. Vincent Aducci at the front. So it's going to be Brooksby in the ruck against Baker. Shallow throw in. Baker gets there. Heron. Spiral towards defensive 50. Maybe now's a chance, but it's Newcomb who pinches it and puts it through. Lovely finish. He's got 2.
Another long-range goal there. Who's having a terrific afternoon, Newcomb. He's kicked 2 beauties this afternoon. Another intercept possession and turnover goal. So that's where they've just cut the Kangaroos to ribbons. Missed a easy handball, opened the door for Box Hill, and they've slammed it shut.
So Box Hill came into this 2-2 on the season with a percentage of 99.4. That'll clearly go well north of the 3 figures as Baker applies a very good tackle there on Kel Porter. Margin at 59 points. Box Hill will face Carlton next Sunday across town at Icon Park. The Kangaroos to face the Bombers at Windy Hill. Incidentally, the Bombers are currently in action. The final game of round 5 of the VFL against Frankston. We'll bring you a score from that very shortly as McInnes kick free of Heron. He got hands to it. Bosena Valagi quickly realised he had no one around him, so he could run off, kick, find Bailey Scott. This will be touch number 26 of his afternoon. Ford was denied. He'll have to go on and find it himself. It's built free. Reeves to Howe. Calling a crisis. Kick's probably got a little bit too much on it for Segler. Donnelly couldn't take the mark, and it was to the advantage of Segler. Off to Downey, who chips looking for Jekka. Got the mitts to it, but good work from Gunther to stay in the contest. Downey followed up. Off to Brooksby. Corkscrews it around the body. Looking for Morris, who had the hands just placed on Conway. Takes the mark. We'll go back and try and make it a goal in each quarter this afternoon.
Donnelly probably should have taken that chest mark at the half back flank for him, and another tiny little skill error that doesn't immediately hurt you, but the chain that it entails does, and he's had a terrific afternoon too. So we've spoken about Howe knocking on the door. Josh Morris lining up for goal number 4. He's putting his name up there.
Julie delivers, and the Hawks have 6 of the last 7.
Four goals to Josh Morris as he puts his name up in front of Hawthorn selectors.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been really good. He's seized his opportunities in front of goals today. Missed one he probably would have thought he'd kick as well, so he could have quite easily had 5. It's been a procession for Box Hill. 9 of the last 10 goals. And another clearance coming.
Got it out to Minot. Penetrating kick inside 50. Segler sets himself.
Very hard to defend that. Hamish Murphy's undersized. He's done a terrific job, but a clean, clear, quick centre clearance. He finds himself under the footy, and Jonathan Segler got good hands.
Probably 15 kilos on him.
He just leant on him there, and it was good separation. So he's coming to the party now. Chime in to kick his first.
So he's kicked 54 goals in his 70 VFL games, John Segler. Missed the last 3 weeks with an ankle problem. 25 out. He adds another.
And this is what tends to happen with really young teams. They compete really hard for 2.5, 3 quarters. But then when fatigue kicks in, the dam wall bursts, they can score quite quickly. And Box Hill really taking advantage of that now.
Is this about par for what we thought the margin might have been pre-game? 71 points, 3 goals a quarter based on the lineups?
It is, but I still think that North Melbourne have been better than another one.
Segler with a clunk.
There's still 15 minutes.
And that's the disappointing thing, because you go away from the game. If you get another 100-point loss, you often think that effort's not there, but it really has been today for the majority of the game. You go through and have a look at the 4 results so far this year from North Melbourne. Lost Geelong by 79 points, conceded 18 goals, 15. Then Frankston beaten by 65, conceded 16 goals, 8. 19 goals, 17 in the 107-point Casey loss, and then 24 goals, 9 in the Southport loss. They're getting opened up quite easily.
With 2 in a minute.
Taking their chances in this final term. They've kicked 5 straight to 3 behinds. The margin goes from 50 points to 77, and this is vital, precious percentage.
8 goals to 2 from stoppages today for the Hawks. It's starting to tell here as they're having their way out of the middle.
Minot this time goes in the Saunders direction. They're queuing up inside 50 for the Hawks right now. Chance to fill the boots. Jekker, Newcomb, Kilpatrick, another.
Well, the extraordinary thing, Jace, is that the Box Hill have only had 7 inside 50s this quarter, and they've kicked 6 goals straight. Every time it's gone in there, they've just about been able to hit the scoreboard. So North Melbourne, they just need to win a clearance, regain some of their composure a little bit here. They haven't been able to literally get their hands on the footy much in the last few minutes.
So Ned Reeves has worked well in tandem this afternoon with Jonathan Segler, and that partnership starting to really show its dominance. Credit to Bailey Scott. He's had an excellent afternoon. Couldn't have done much more as his kick gets to half forward. The fist came from Porter. Danny's tackled strongly.
I reckon some of the real positives out of this afternoon, as you mentioned, Scott's been superb. Sherry's tried really hard. Ford has been terrific.
15 and 8 marks for Eddie Ford.
Hasn't hit the scoreboard, but he's presented really, really well as a sort of high forward.
Ainsworth has done what he could in the second half. Clever double-handed slap there from Byrne, but too much on it there for Logan Young. Kilpatrick kicked it into the back of his teammate Porter. Minot mown down. Well done from Logan Young. One of these 7 debutants, 4 of them coming out of the NAB League. Logan Young plays his footy with the Sandringham Dragons, of course. The West Australian who's come over to try and further his AFL prospects. McGuinness now just looked at Scott, then spun around him, played the 1-2 with Porter. Howe's handball, a 28th possession. Good read there from Young, who's had a busy 60 seconds. Invented the handball inboard for Harry Jones, playing against his former side this afternoon. Whistle, hold, free kick. Dan Howe. So he's bearing down on 30 possessions here, 2 goals. A big afternoon as he is another pressing his claims for a recall.
Short to Kilpatrick. Now to Witt. Options left, right and centre for him. He goes right, finds Greaves. Next in the chain is Downey. Look inboard to Mercedes or Horner. Or McGuinness. To Kilpatrick. Now Nash. Nash indicates he wants to launch it long. He's got plenty of big targets down there to kick towards. Brooksby works hard to get there. Well played, Gunther in front. Heron. Out of bounds before he kicked it.
That's what you like to see. Some defensive pressure there from Jekker, not just the marks and goals. That forward line was very, very tall then. It was Segler, Jekker and Brooksby when they looked up.
Segler. Beautiful tap down to Howe, who just lays it across his left boot. And Donnelly stands underneath it and marks. Quick exit to Liam Conway. Got Boston of Alagi working forward of the football. Uses him now. He can turn and go. He's got Polidorus working towards the wing. Again, good delivery. Good ball movement this from North Melbourne. Inboard down to Ainsworth. Can they catch Box Hill's defence out of position? They bring it back into the corridor. And run down from behind at just the wrong moment was Miller Hodge. The turnover came. Howe took it. Delivered it to Newcomb versus Ainsworth. Kilpatrick off a step. pokes it in the Brooksby direction. Donnelly uses the body. Downey comes through. He's wrapped up and taken down by Hodge, and Donnelly, umpire, says holding the ball.
Jace, we've got a VFLW match to follow this one. Hawthorn and North Melbourne locking horns. Big news in the AFLW this week with the announcement of the next season, season 6, set to start in December. We'll have footy for Christmas in the AFLW and some new clubs coming our way as well.
Yeah, footy 10 months of the year now. Long ball towards Reeves.
He's been really good this afternoon.
Hawks, of course, a loud voice amongst those 4 clubs waiting for their AFLW entry. Likely to be for season 7, which will be played across the summer of 22 and 23.
Probably needed to be a little louder with their voice around 2016.
Newcombe short from Nash. It's been Conanath's 10th possession of the afternoon. He's had 5 marks. Can try and help the Hawks find a 20th. Segler, or there's a hold and a free kick.
Oh, he's not happy either. He's going to line up for goal number 3 for the quarter. There was an infringement and back play from Brooksby.
Brooksby on Gunther, but they might give it back here, the Roos. No, Harry Jones. Ford, searching, hoping, watching, waiting, retreating. Back to Gunther.
He swings it wide. Here's Heron with speed. Pokes it down the line towards Lou. Heron followed up, got the handball. It was tapped on by Watkins. It's been heavy going for much of the afternoon in terms of ball movement for the Kangaroos. Pressure from Box Hill's been great. This is Phillips, the turnover to Segler. Saunders has had a productive afternoon, has had most of the Hawks forwards, and Brooksby gets on the end of this one. He's going to play on. Will he bend it around? He will. He puts it across the face.
A big fella with some speed. Just couldn't quite have the finish there with the check side.
1-1 for the 31-year-old this afternoon. Don't forget the build up to Melbourne and Carlton to follow our match here, Sunday Footy Fest.
The ball movement just been a little bit stagnant in this last term for the Kangaroos. It's easy, very easy pickings for the Box Hill defenders to just roll across.
You can see that on your screen as brown and gold next to every set of blue and white stripes. Easy pickings for Beasley. You've got a sense the 20th major's coming as Howe has the option wide in Greaves, who's a long way from his natural habitat. Off to Nash. They're just trying to stretch the North defence horizontally here. Nash assessing his options. Heading for Jecker, who found a hole.
Just too easy. First the mark from Hugh Beasley, the intercept mark, and on that occasion, just they've continued to move all afternoon, the Box Hill forwards. They've worked pretty well together. That's uncontested. 15 out.
6 multiple goal kickers this afternoon for Box Hill. Emerson Jecker has 2-4. 1-3 of that came in the opening quarter for his 11th VFL major of the season. And another to try and push his magnet up the board for AFL duties.
He's had a nice day. Jecker, 3 goals, 4. Could have been a massive day. Extends the margin back to 90 points. And as frustrated and upset as Sam Mitchell might have been in patches in the first half, he'd be pretty happy with the return now at 90 points.
So a free kick going the way of the Hawks. It must be a 666 infringement.
Everything going Box Hill's way now.
Have to wait for players to actually get themselves back into the 666 arc before we can take you around the grounds. Early going second term at Windy Hill. Dolphins with a narrow lead. Nathan Freeman already up to 15 possessions. What a season he's having in the VFL. The ball in the hands now of Josh Morris, who's kicked 4.
Yeah, have a shot. Go back. You've had a nice day. You think you've got the journey.
And now he does. Sets himself. Takes those extra 5 or 6 steps to get that extra momentum.
Might be able to run around off the mark a little bit.
Nick Hill a little bit from right to left.
Oh.
He's hit that pretty well. That's a lovely finish. caps his day beautifully. Josh Morris kicks his 5th. So why the hesitation, Brownie? If he knows at training he can kick a goal from outside 50, why do you get to game day? Is it a fear of being seen as selfish, or the coach giving a spray?
There's probably a little bit of both. You know, obviously you look and try and find a player inside the forward 50, but I've always believed if you know you've got the journey in you, don't try and create something when you don't need to. Just go back and have a shot, and he couldn't have hit that any sweeter. He's now got 5 goals and making real claims for the best man on the ground. Him and Daniel Howe sort of neck and neck at the moment. If he could sneak another one in.
It's the breakthrough performance for Morris in his time on the Hawthorn list as a goal kicker with 5 this afternoon, as Will Phillips runs away, stretches his tag for the afternoon, and Finn McGuinness points the left foot ball, but Horner was there for Box Hill. Picking it up was Pepper. His kick is wide and on the lead for Minot. So Minot tight against the boundary line. Decided just to direct the kick back in. Newcomb, just before Donnelly was able to make the scene. John Newcomb, this will be possession number 18 for the afternoon, to go with 9 tackles and a couple of majors. So the Hawks looking to take the margin beyond triple figures. Brooksby receives from Howe, and they're just sharing it around late.
Yeah, it's a shame the fatigue's kicked in, because that's training drill sort of stuff from Box Hill. Then all the way from the back pocket through the corridor, not much pressure on any of the players. And Daniel Howe had multiple options. He had Ned Reeves on the lead. Brooksby was there. He could have run to 45 and had a shot himself if he wanted to. Such was the lack of pressure. So this game's really opened up in this last term, which is a bit of a shame because the contest was good.
14 of the last 16 majors after Kate Ainsworth kicked the first goal of the second half to make the margin 21 points. They've been competitive for 2 and a bit quarters, North, but they've certainly run out of legs and experience. 9 in the last quarter for Box Hill. A very neat percentage top up for the Hawks.
And it's 9-1. So fantastic for them to take their chances, Brandon. This could easily be 6-goal last quarter. You kick 6-4, you kick 5-5, and you walk away with a decent 10 or 12-goal win. But percentage-wise, they are cashing in.
Yeah, they certainly are. Their efficiency has been absolutely superb. And, you know, I've seen 100-point drubbings before in my time, and this has been a good one from the Kangaroos. I honestly feel like for the best part of 3 quarters, they've been more than admirable. It's a shame that this last term has just opened right up, and fatigue, physical and mental, you know, has really kicked in. 102 points now with still a little bit of time to play.
Sherry got the tap. Downey wrapped up by Scott, who's been a real shining light for the Kangas this afternoon. Up into the high 20s for his possessions. 27 touches for Bailey Scott. He's fought the good fight. A kick from Minot. Bounce towards Morris at half forward. Heron glides across the ground at half back. Kick into the path of Baker. Just hit him on the knee. And there's the frustration. It's been a tough, frustrating kind of an afternoon. There is Bailey Scott. Great day for Dan Howe. Braden Kilpatrick's racked him up in the back half.
And this whole last quarter, only 35 possessions combined for the North Melbourne side, so they just haven't been able to get their hands on the footy and share it around like they were able to do earlier in the game.
35 kicks, 83-52 possession-wise. One of the telling stats, Brownie, is it's been 32 marks to 16 in the last quarter, so Box Hill have had complete control and then kicked 9-1 from 13 entries inside forward 50.
Yeah, they're going to go inside forward 50 again. They've got Brooksby at the back if they want to use him. Morris has snuck forward too, and they've gone to Segler.
Ahead for Segler, who's the tall timber. Brooksby cast in the role of Rover. Almost went a bit quick for him. McGuinness, Downey, you can have it. You can kick one. 23-12, 150 now for Box Hill, and a 10-goal final quarter. But again, just to put it in context, you've got 12 Hawthorn listed players, another 4 in the Box Hill side of things who've spent time on an AFL list previously. This North Melbourne team with just 5 AFL listed players. That includes Will Phillips, who's played 7 at the highest level, including a couple of times the medical sub, and Eddie Ford, who's yet to see some AFL action and playing just his 4th VFL game today. You then add in 7 players playing their first VFL games, including 4 guys running around in the NAB League at the moment. There's a golfing class and experience, and it's telling late.
Smart play there by Segler as well, not trying to mark that ball. He just tapped it down to the front and centre players, and one of them was Brooksby, and then they could just raffle who was going to kick the goal then.
Connor Downey gets his first goal in a Hawk jumper. Cherry tries to take it from the ruck. He's fought hard all day. Logan Young to Phillips. Misses the target on the lead. Coming out was Polidorus. Horner at the back. There is Polidorus, still putting some pressure on. Pepper. Beasley. Pops a handball over the top. Minot to Masiti. He chips it to Downey. Downey just pokes it short to Brooksby. Gives it off. And the Hawks get the job done. They move to 3-2 with a 108-point win over the Kangaroos at City Oval. And they're up into the top 8 through 5 rounds of football. On behalf of our production team here at Box Hill City Oval, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next weekend for more 7 VFL as we take it back to the studio on the Sunday Footy Fest with Abby.